Let me say hello to everybody. Folks, I'm an idiot. I thought we were live already, and I just realized we're not. Welcome, welcome, welcome into Hall of Fame college football with Jason and the coach. We were definitely running late, but we've been going for about 10 minutes. And my fault, folks. Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
boy, Jay.
Happens to everybody.
Hey! You know, Jason's a little on, off a on tilt because of all his Tennessee buddies talking shit to him.
Oh, I don't really care about that. That's fun shit. To be quite honest with you. And Seawald, I know we don't have a ton of time with you, so I'm sorry about that. And
guys, you're good, man.
Welcome into the show, everybody. I'm sorry we're late. I'm sorry I didn't push the button, but we've been on about 10 minutes. I was already late, so there's already no two ways around it. My fault about all that, though. Welcome into the show, everybody. We are on here right now with Seawalt from Fourth and Goal with Seawalt. He is our Clemson guy. He is the guy that knows all this stuff. We've been talking Clemson, and I guess I'll just go ahead and ask you again. You can kind of pare it down a little bit so we can make sure we get as whatever we can out of you here. Just talk to us a little bit about kind of coming into the game. You know, we looked at it coming into your last game. It didn't look really good, and I think a lot of us were kind of writing Clemson off because of the fact that, they got a defense, but their offense is just really not getting it together. Now, I know that they kind of came around in that game against Appalachian State, and they're the giant killers, so it's kind of one of them scary games for everybody. I know you were happy about kind of, what you saw from them. Talk to us again about what you saw right there.
Yeah, the biggest thing for me is we got some explosiveness on the outside. We put the young true freshmen in, 2 5-star kids, and they showed out really. Wesco, 3 catches, 170-ish yards and a touchdown, and he only had 12 snaps. TJ Moore, 44 yards and a touchdown. So having those guys in there, being able to create space against the secondary, allowed Garrett Riley to run his offense. And I think we saw what his offense could look like with skilled playmakers on the field. And also on the offensive line, it's Matt Luke has worked wonders with those guys.
I was fixing to say something about that. I know that they didn't, and we were talking about that, obviously off air at this point. But with clearly looking at bringing in Matt Luke, he's one of the best coaches in the country for the offensive line. We've known that for a long time. He was doing wonders there at Georgia before he left there and showed up at Clemson. But still, whenever you had some opportunities to kind of get some guys to shore up, we felt like that was one of the places we talked before, you and I, about that you really needed to kind of work at that, and they just didn't try because, they said, then I think one of them chose Army or something like that, or somebody crazy that there's no way they would ever choose them over even coming to look at Clemson.
Yeah, one went to Arkansas, one went to Georgia Tech.
Oh, yes, okay. Either one would never.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, Keelan Ratledge looked pretty good the last couple games I saw him at Georgia Tech. So, anyways.
No, listen, and I think that, tell us again what you think about where they're headed. I mean, are they going to make any changes, or is this just going to kind of stay the same the way that it is? And what do you expect out of them this year? Do you think that they make a playoff run, or where do you think they are?
Yeah, so about change, right? I think Dabo's, I don't want to use the term set in his way, but he's set in his way. He's made it pretty clear he's not going to change the way he approaches the portal. If he has a dire need for somebody, he'll look into trying to pull somebody from the portal. Clemson's not going to go out there getting a bidding war. They're going to use their resources in recruiting and player retention inside the program once they're there. And as far as this season's outlook, a little bit of it depends on how we look against NC State. I think if we look pretty good against them, it gives me a good indicator that I don't see anybody on our schedule that tells me it's an automatic loss.
Right.
At this point, right? So I always felt we were going to lose to Georgia. Didn't think it was going to be 34-3. I was proved wrong there, but I don't see
in the game. They were in the game, and that was what told me that, like, man, this is the same Clemson. They're not, because they were in the game. The defense had shut them down in the first half. It was 6-3.
The front seven is ridiculous,
It's
right? I feel like
ridiculous.
our front four, and I said this last year on some of the shows. Our backups were better than our starters last year on the D line, and it's proven right now. Peyton Page, Damani Capehart, and Trey Williams, those three guys in the middle, that's 2 5-stars and a high 4-star who have spent time in the program. You got Peter Woods, who was a defensive tackle, moved outside. I'm not a huge fan of that.
Great stud.
I'm not a huge fan of him being outside because you see what happened when Georgia ran those jet sweeps. He couldn't catch him, right? So I think that's going to be a weak spot as far as, if teams decide to attack us laterally. But I mean, Peter Woods is a stud, right? Another 5-star. You just go down that whole defensive front seven list, and you're like 5-star, 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 high 4-star, right? I think our biggest question mark defensively would be in the secondary. There's some youth. Jaden Lucas has been there a few years. He hasn't played a whole lot. He's dealt with a lot of injuries. Sheldon Lewis is injured. Tyler Venables needs to stay off the field. So I think if teams want to attack Clemson, they need to go deep on us, kind of like Kentucky did in the bowl game last year. So with all that being said, I feel like we're going to the ACC championship game. I know it's early. I just don't see anybody on our schedule really that we have left that I could say is a definite loss, right? Maybe Virginia Tech gives us a good game. So I feel like it's going to be Clemson, Miami in the ACC championship game. And I know a lot of people are high on Miami right now.
Come on. How high can you be?
They've had an amazing first couple games, right? But
they're good.
Take it with a grain of salt, right?
They won't shit down their leg whenever it comes time for, you know what I mean?
We dealt with this 3 or 4 years ago. Miami was undefeated coming to Clemson, and we ran them out, the stadium. So, anyways, I feel like it'll be Clemson Miami ACC championship game, and I've got Clemson winning and going back to the playoff.
Going back, and that's where that's where I'm at with them. I do. I still think they win it, and get in.
Well, you look at it, Coach. Cade Klubnik, what a game. 24-26, 378 with 5 touchdowns. That goes to show that's what they were expecting out of him when they got him there. That's what they were expecting.
And that's what was being expected out of that offense too. Because that's been a long time coming, and it hadn't, the reins have not been let go of to let Riley, run his offense. But I'm starting to see the snippets of that starting to occur.
I don't know that it's. Sorry. Go ahead, Coach.
No. I'm just saying that's dangerous.
I don't know that it was the reins not being let go as much as he just didn't have the guys on the field to be able to do what he wanted to do. I know you got the guys you got, right? And I think letting these young guys fly, man, really opened some eyes, even though it was App State, right? They show they can find open holes.
Right.
And the offensive line giving Cade just another second to throw the football. I've never seen him stand in the pocket like he did against App State. Like, that's progress for me. He stood in the pocket, delivered balls on target. That's all you want to see. The run game will, handle itself. Moffa will handle himself.
Yeah,
no doubt. I think that Moffa is a heck of a running back. He was probably the best running back you had even last year. So I thought that was a good move on their part. Look, I know we'll kind of keep up to date with it. I know we'll get a chance to talk to you a little bit more throughout the rest of the season. I appreciate you coming on. I apologize for the screw up.
It's all good, man. I appreciate you letting me come on, and we'll definitely get back together.
Rookie stuff, man. Rookie stuff today, man. But hey, thanks a lot, man. Tell everybody how they can find you. Are you putting out content right now, or are you mostly you going to get back into the swing of it at least?
Yeah, man. I'm going to start putting content back out, weekly, every couple days. Clemson content just varies depending on the news cycle, right? Nothing specific. And I plan to come on and support you and whenever you have me back. So.
Hey man, well, I'll have you on anytime you'd like to, man. Any Tuesday night, and I know
We
you
love
kind of work
having
during
you.
the daytime, so we love having you, man. Anytime you'd like to come on, anytime.
Yeah. By the way, 4th and Goal with Seawalt on YouTube and 4th and Goal with Seawalt on Twitter or X. So
Sounds
that's
good,
where you
my
can find
man.
me.
Hey man, make sure you guys get over there and subscribe to Seawalt's channel.
Yeah.
Make sure keep a fire lit under his ass so he puts out some content.
All right, guys. Appreciate having me.
Thanks for coming
Take
on,
it easy,
brother.
Coach
Brother, have a
Jason.
good
All right,
one.
bro.
Good luck.
Have a good
this
one,
week.
guys. Yep.
See you
Thanks.
later, man. All right. Well, thanks a lot for Seawalt coming in, guys. Yeah, I'm a dumbass. Coach, that was. I swear I hit the button, and I must not have hit it the second time because you gotta double click it, and then yeah,
It's all good.
Stephen G, Chicken, what's up, man? Kimberly K, Texas effing sucks. Whoever this is, I love it. I love that name. Garrett Bullware, Lisa Rawls, welcome into the show. Sean D, Ryman Lim in Trojan Fight. I already got both of y'all. Hey, Mom, what's up there? Who else we got? I know we've had a few. Buddy Rye, what's up, buddy? Glad everybody made it in. Sorry about our tardiness. Hey, there's old John Lewis. If you guys haven't checked out the preview that we did on his channel earlier today, I'll drop that in the I'll make sure to drop that in the description there, and you can get over and check it out. Make sure that you are a subscriber to Bama Talk with John. He does a great job over there, and he's starting to grow quickly. So make sure you guys get in there and become subscribers to the channel. All right. Yep. And yeah, thanks again to Seawalt for coming in, talking a little bit of Clemson. We didn't get as much of it, but as we probably wanted to. But yeah, that's who that was. God, Guns, and Ammo. Look at here. I think we got our Tennessee. That's our first Tennessee fan right there. Pretty sure that's him. All right, Coach. You weren't wrong about one thing. They've been on my ass, on my bumper all damn day for 24 hours plus since I had Mike Boganowski Sr. on the show yesterday morning. It's been well, the TikTok, and I put the same video on YouTube. It's got like, I think 2,000 views. We've got like 27,000 views on the one on TikTok, and they are coming at me. And so for all the ones, there's a few that are like, hey, we don't think that way. We know that this is going to be a tough game coming in. And a lot of them are like, nah, we're going to beat you by 50. So go figure, right?
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a dogfight.
I think it is too. Yeah, listen, I expect it to be a dogfight. And, you know, the one thing that we've talked about a lot, and I think that, you know, it looks like to me might be able to get some of these guys back. I'm hoping we're going to end up getting some of these guys back. I know you need Nick Anderson for sure. That's going to be something that really I think will help a ton. But you're going to have to run the football. And I think as much as people want to make this about what the Oklahoma defense does against Nico or whatever, I think the main thing that you have to do, they're a running team first. They're a running team first. They've got more rushing yards than they do passing yards on this season. You got to go out there and you're going to have to stop the run. And I think if you can do that and make Nico and make that offense one-dimensional, then you've got a chance. Because I think that this defense is going to come out and show things that they haven't shown at all this season. In fact, I know that's the case. And I think it's a matter of, can you get enough offense going? Because eventually they're going to score if you're not staying on the field. And we have talked about that. I think that they've been better from week to week. They were better last week, especially in the first half. And I think you're starting to see some things going in the right direction for Jackson Arnold. But I'll tell you this is going to be a hell of a game. And everybody that's putting all their money and going crazy about saying Tennessee's going to do this and Tennessee's going to do that. The last time that Oklahoma or that Brent Venables went up against a Josh Heupel offense, they beat them 40-6. You know, that was, of course, Clemson in Oklahoma. And it wasn't the greatest year for Oklahoma that year. But I'm going to tell you now, he knows what he's doing with these guys, and you're going to struggle getting into games with these guys, right? So I'm just saying. What is this? What are you doing mowing the yard, Mom? It's too damn hot for that. Knock it off. Killing me. And you say it in my chat too and get me all wound up. Oklahoma has the 7th largest front 7 on defense in the SEC. Yeah, look, man. All right. So here's the thing. That defense is going to dominate Tennessee offense. The SEC is going to learn the Palace is a hard place to play. Hey, listen, the Palace is a hard place to play. That doesn't mean they're not going to be able to come in there and play.
Right.
And so I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm overlooking Tennessee in any way. Do I expect Oklahoma to win? I do. I do expect them to win. But I think that you definitely need to play a little bit better on offense than you have been. And I think if you do get Nick Anderson back, that's a big get. But we need to see some more out of this running game as well. You've got to be able to move the football and keep their offense off the field, because at some point the dam just breaks, right? Even if you are playing great defense. But I think you got to get in there and you have to turn them over, and I think they will. The idea that you've heard a lot of it today on like Twitter and everywhere else, and I've seen it all over all these comments and stuff. I was going to pull some of this shit up because it's funny. But a lot of these guys are saying, well, we're the number 2 defense in the country. Okay, that's all well and good whenever you've played Kent State and you've played UT Chattanooga and even a team from NC State that forgot to get off the bus, I think, for their first 2 games, for that matter. So I don't know that I really look at that as any of those 3 wins as something that's like, woo, big deal that you shut those offenses down. We're talking about UT Chattanooga and Kent State. You know, it is what it is. But the game is going to be probably a damn good game. Lisa says, you will stay in the game and will cause Tennessee to pucker in the 4th and play tight. Boomer rolls like my tie. Yeah, Alabama, I'm starting to get a little worried about them. They're looking a lot better. They went in there and coach what they did to Wisconsin last weekend. Just threw a beating on them. And it's almost not fair seeing that, now their offense is going to really kind of come alive because of Kalen DeBoer, and they still got a nasty defense as far as all that talent's concerned. I think that it's kind of sucks for everybody. But, Coach, let's talk a little bit about your boys too. What a rebound.
Yeah, I've got to tell you, not much of a damn rebound in my opinion. We put a lot of points on the board. We still can't throw the ball to feed the starving birds. We are anemic in the passing game. And I understand. I've coached long enough to know you got to take your personnel and you got to play to their strengths. Obviously, Riley had a hell of a first half with 3 touchdowns and running them himself, and hell, he looked great doing it. I mean, I got to be honest. Hell, he might be better at running back than he is a quarterback. But the thing is that I'm still trying to figure out is he's had years where he's looked pretty good throwing the ball. I mean, not great, but a hell of a lot better than he's throwing the ball right now. So I don't know what's going on there with that. Mm-hmm. I don't know. And, 2 weeks ago when we got our ass beat by the MAC school, they ran him early in the game, and then obviously he got hurt and they didn't run him anymore, which is the strength of our football team offensively. Right now is him running the football.
Mm-hmm.
But they quit running him, and
the problem for Notre Dame for a couple of years is the passing game.
Yeah.
And so I see where you're upset about it and worried about it.
And so I'm and then you bring Angeli in the ball game this last week in the second half. First passes for a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
We just, and I tell you one thing I've seen about Riley. He's such a good runner that he gets a little push and he won't step up into the pocket. He's immediately running out of the pocket. and doesn't get his eyes downfield very well. And I'm sure that's because he's such a good runner that he doesn't get his eyes upfield. But the thing that I've noticed, Jason, is when he runs out of the pocket, I guarantee you, I think I hadn't looked at the whole film yet, all the way on every game, but every time, I think 100% of the time, I've seen him come out of that pocket to the right. Well, if I'm defending you, I got an answer for that, because I know he's not going to step up, and I know he's not going to run to the left. So I'm coming off the edge with some heat, no matter what. So I don't know. We, like you said, we rebounded. Yeah, we scored 66. I'm not sure Purdue's worth a shit.
Well, there are a Big Ten team at least, though. You know.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I know it's killing you right now. I know it's killing you. But listen, I think it was a step, right? It's a step in the right direction. And if Angeli's the guy, then I think that they're going to go there, because if you've seen that he can come in and put numbers up there. And I know that, you know, first of all, you invested money in this guy and they think a lot of him. And I would say that I believe that what you saw out of Mike Denbrock at LSU with Jaden Daniels is why they went and got a guy like Riley Leonard, right? I mean, you want a guy that can run and throw and all that, but we hadn't really seen much of his throwing that's done very well yet. I do think that you've got good receivers. I think you got a good coordinator, and we know that you have a hell of a defense. So if they can get a little bit better every week, and this is what I've been saying about Oklahoma, if you can get a little bit better every week, it's not like you're playing the toughest schedule in the world. You should be able to kind of get some momentum going. And, you know, hey, you know the big games are coming up. You know, you got Louisville coming up. When is that? In a couple of weeks?
That's 2 weeks, I believe.
2 weeks, right. And then you'll have, obviously, Florida State looks like shit. And we kind of saw that coming. But, you know, and then
that's a given.
Listen, they're 0-3 at this point, and I mean, good grief. You know, they can blame it on DJU all they want, but they're not doing anything well. Nothing well.
Suck.
They suck. They suck. Yeah. So we know that one should be another win. And then you got a Georgia Tech game, and then really, aside from those games, you look like you have a pretty good little run headed into the Coliseum at the end of the year to play USC. If you can go through it and end up with the 11-1, we talked about before, 11-1 gets you in. There's no two ways around it. There's no two ways around it.
Well, and I tell you what, right now, if we played USC today, I would not have a damn bit of confidence in us going and winning that ball game. I compare them to us right now, you know, USC to us, and they are way better than we are at this point. So we got a lot of improvement to make. And again, you know, talking about the schedule, when you don't play a tough schedule, it's hard to improve. It really is. Really.
I get it. And that's the same thing we've been saying about with OU and the schedule that they play. I mean, you're going up against what is right now the number 1 team in the country. You're going up against the number, 3 or 4 team in the country. I think 4, 5, 7, 7 coming up this week. So it is what it is. I mean, you know, you're going to run up against, and a lot of people talk about how brutal that is, and it is brutal. It is brutal when you're looking at it. It's a SEC schedule and it's brutal, but I tell you what, if you can get through that thing with no more than 1 or 2 losses, you're going to be ready to rock and roll whenever you get to
you're going to be battle tested, no doubt, no doubt.
And I do believe that that's what's going to happen. Now, if you listen to Tennessee fans, and I wanted to just show you a few of these because it's pretty funny. These guys are something else, Coach. Just a few. So as you see here, ain't nobody worried about OU after struggling against Houston at home. Tennessee has every right to be cocky. Oklahoma is not ready and will never be. Tennessee is blowing Oklahoma out of the water. I'm a Vols fan and I'm realistic. OU is not a good team. I've been a Vols fan for 34 years and I know the heartache, but we about to dog walk them all the way back to Knoxville. Have you watched OU play? They're actually terrible. Oh, buddy, I just can't wait. This is the kind of shit that makes me excited. LSU said the same thing. Oh, basically, what was said, and I don't know if you watched that video or not. I'll pop it up there here in just a minute. But Mike Boganowski was like, because they've been cocky. They've been coming in and on everybody on Twitter, anybody who says anything about the game going to be good, they're talking about, no, we're going to blow them out. We're going to put 50 on them and all this kind of stuff. And say we're going to undefeated. A few of them are actually saying the right things, but ask LSU about 2022 in Death Valley. Norman ain't got nothing on Death Valley. Yeah, but they weren't that damn good in 2022 either. So what are we even talking about? Yeah, Oklahoma still don't realize they're in the SEC now. We're going to come into Norman and win by 30. Folks, this is just a few of them. Yeah, oh yeah, Vols by 50. Write it up and type it up. 27,000 viewers as of right now on TikTok. And the biggest part of these comments, and that's just, that was earlier on that I found those ones, but the biggest part of these comments are all saying the same thing. They're going to dog walk Oklahoma. I love it. I love it. I love it. Keep talking. That's all I got to say. Keep that talking and keep that energy, boys. Keep that energy.
And I go back to this. Tennessee hadn't been exactly the model of success. And, when you get to feeling your oats like you've won a few ball games, you think you're going to be pretty damn good. You tend to talk a lot of ignorance and a lot of shit. And I'm not saying that they're not a good football team, but you know what? Talk shit after you win, not before, because it's tough when you got to scoop that spoonful of shit and eat it up. So be careful, guys. That's all I can say.
Well, as I said, the last time that Venables played against Hype, he beat the shit out of him. His offense did not do well. Now, granted, that was one of the not great Oklahoma teams that I can remember. But then Venables also did the same thing a couple of years later to Lincoln Riley's offense in the playoff, in that very first playoff, and Clemson beat the shit out of them then too, and that was with Baker. So I'll just say this. These defenses, and we talked about this a lot of times, Coach, these offensive coaches aren't the ones that go and win these big games. They're not.
Right.
Defense wins the big games. And the one
big
thing
games are won on the defensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's the whole deal. And Lisa, she goes, even though they're annoying as hell, Tennessee fans have been terrible for so long they don't have any realistic context. And
exactly.
That's absolutely correct. And I think that's exactly what you were just saying, Coach. They're just it gets to a point where you start listening to some of it. And it's the same thing that we're hearing from Mizzou. They're trash. They've been trash. I watched them look like really bad against a Boston College team that I'm not that impressed with. They're going to do things well as far as, they're going to be at least fairly, fairly well coached anyway with Bill O'Brien or whatever. But to be honest with you, though, I just don't think much of Drink, and I don't think much of Mizzou. But you've heard the same shit from them for a year now.
Right.
Same stuff. We're gonna get a piece of them at their house later on in the year. But I'll tell you this, and I'm not even saying for sure that it's a guaranteed win for Oklahoma. I'm not crazy. Crazy.
No.
I know what kind of offense they have, and the thing is that they also have Pierce, who is probably one of the better defensive players in the country, if not the best defensive line guy in the country. He's a surefire top 10 pick. He's been very good, and he leads the way for them. I would tell you that when it comes to what they are on the defensive side of the ball, they've got a pretty good front seven, but the back end, untested, completely untested. And what are you going to get out of it? If you can stretch the field a little bit this week, and if you get Nick Anderson back, you'll be able to do that. I also think that maybe they have been sitting on some of their plays. I hope that's the case. I also saw Jackson Arnold be anticipatory when it came to his passing last week. He was throwing balls before the guy even hit into his brakes, so that he's turning and then the ball's there. That's taking a step forward, if you ask me. It's something that we were talking about the week before when he didn't look very good, that he was waiting. He was, and I think that they're going to do some things that are probably going to be more helpful for him. And just having Nick Anderson back, because the guy is a big boy.
Yeah.
He's able to go up and get those 50-50 balls. You're not going to be able to just double team and bracket Deion Burks. If you just have him back in the game, it changes their offense. Period.
Yeah. I agree.
We're trading. Wait, what do you say? That's it. We're going to Dolly World tomorrow. Yeah.
I love it.
We trade
Chicken, you the man, brother.
Delusional Tennessee orange. No doubt the Dundies. No doubt. The guys just, they're nuts. And like the thing is I don't know anybody who really talks a bunch of shit about Tennessee for the most part because of the fact that Josh is there. You know what I mean? We just don't do it. I guess welcome to the SEC, Oklahoma. Welcome to the SEC. Yeah, and one at the end, striker talking shit after the game. Let them be upset. Who cares? Yeah. So, OU hasn't even really blitzed. They haven't. That we were talking about that yesterday with Big Mike Boganowski. They really haven't done a lot of blitzing. You've had a couple here and there, but they're nothing exotic. You haven't, and I'm telling you now, he's not going to have seen a single thing. That quarterback, they're going to try to make him one-dimensional. They're going to make sure that they're not. I can tell you one thing: they're not getting 300 rushing yards like they've averaged in the first 3 weeks. Like going up against UT Chattanooga and Kent State and a crappy NC State defense. Sorry, you're not going to get that this week. That's not happening. If you can't run the football, what are you going to do now with a brand new quarterback that's never seen what he's going to get thrown at him? They're going to throw the kitchen sink at him. I'm going to tell you now, Oklahoma wins the game. I'm going to just say it. I'm going to make the prediction now. Oklahoma wins the damn game. That's just the way it is. Let's see. We got a super chat from Lisa because Boomer Saturday. Because of the first lady of Sooner Nation. That's right. I'm telling you, they win the game. It's just going to happen. Yeah, they don't have respect. And you know what? And that's the other part of it. You're hearing all this stuff, and you've even heard them kind of go and ask stuff to Coach Venables. He had a nice little funny smirk on his face whenever he was talking about what was being said. I love it. I think he loves it. Yeah. Hey, Pierce has had 0 sacks and only 4 pressures. He hasn't played well. Okay. Well, that's probably not a good thing if you really hadn't gone up against anybody yet. So that's a little weird. I'm telling you, I'm going to say it now. I wasn't going to even make a prediction on it until later in the week, but I'll go ahead and say it now. Oklahoma wins this football game. I just believe it.
Give me a score, Jace. Give me a score.
Oklahoma wins, let's say 30-17. 30-17. Probably get a defensive touchdown in that as well. I think that's the one thing is they're going to get in there and try to turn them over. They're going to stop the run. I think that's their number one goal is to shut down the run game. And then that's when they'll go hunting.
Right.
If they can't get anything going in the run game in their first few series, then they're going to have to try to go deep. And I don't know that you're going to be able to do that either, but they're certainly going to make sure that he's thrown under pressure at that point. And that's when you get the turnovers. Yeah, well, you think Tennessee will score. How are they going to score if they don't get the run game going? They're a run-first team. I'm going to tell you that.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Thank you for the super chat, Lisa. We appreciate that. We're excited about it. We're excited about this. This is a big game. It's a big game, man. It's a big game. Excited about this game.
It's a huge game. It is.
Mm-hmm. Yep. BB said last night they haven't sent their blitz packages and scheme yet. They haven't. And we've been talking about this since before the season that they weren't going to do that. They will not have shown anything. And they've been dominant. they haven't given up. They haven't had a 300-yard game against them. And you take a look at what Tulane was, and you can say whatever you want about Tulane, but they've been a good program. They've been a good program. And the week before, they put up almost 500 yards on K-State, barely in the game that they probably should have won. They come in and they couldn't even muster 300 yards against Oklahoma. And Oklahoma didn't even have its best game on the defensive side of the ball last weekend and still held them under 300 yards. This is a real defense, and look, that was because we know that this is what has been required for admission into the SEC. All we've heard is how you better get good in the trenches. Well, they've done that. Take a look at what R. Mason Thomas did last week. He had 3 sacks, and one of them a strip sack, and he had a pass breakup as well. That's a nasty. I mean, there you go. He's got 3 sacks in the season. Pierce doesn't have any. Hey, what's up there, Collins? Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for coming in. Vols fans had you laughing all day, just as lining up and play. I can't wait, man. I can't wait. This is definitely made it fun. Chicken says Oklahoma 31, Voltard 16. Coach, what do you got the game at?
You know what? I really don't know, Jace. I think it's either going to be a big win for OU, or I think it's going to be a really tight ball game. I don't think Tennessee wins big. I don't have them projected that way. I either think y'all win by, anywhere between 14, 21 points. But I think it could come down to fourth quarter and maybe a last drive scenario. I think it can go either way.
I think it's going to be a good game, too. I do think Oklahoma wins it, though. Okay, Chicken, $50 super chat.
Chicken,
my man. Appreciate it. For that, we're going to throw one of these.
The brand has finally returned. Your brand. The brand.
And then, thanks a lot, Chicken, for that. 31-17 is what he's got. This is Sooner Nation, Oklahoma, 31-17. Thank you for the super chat. You are the man. I'll be back, chat, says Ben G.
Hey, have you seen the one? Have you seen the question by Trojan Fight on what are you guys thinking about on this concerning signal penalties where the defensive line can't shift anymore? You see that over there?
So I hadn't seen. Okay, what are you guys' thoughts on this concerning signals penalties? We've seen. You talking about when they were clapping or doing some different stuff to kind of like throw the offense off? Is that what you're saying?
Well, it happened in one of our ball games.
I hadn't really seen this happen, so I was going to ask you what you were talking about.
Yeah, it's happened in one of our ball games where our D lineman shifted, and we got called for the penalty. And basically, the way I'm understanding it, if you're making that movement just to try to get the offense to jump, it's a defensive penalty.
What the hell?
And I think that's bullshit. I mean, that's part of defense is being able to stem your defense. Do defensive coaches use it to make the offensive line jump? Hell yeah. I mean, isn't that part of the football game?
Offensive coaches do the same shit.
Exactly. So I don't know. I was pissed off when it happened in our game and kind of delved off into that. So Trojan Fight, to answer your question, I think it's quite the mountain of bullshit. And again, rules in college football have all moved in the direction of the offense.
No doubt.
Because people want to see a lot of points scored. And so I think this is just another one of those rules to allow the offense to be able to move the ball and not make, mental errors of jumping and so forth.
Yeah, no doubt.
So,
No doubt.
So I call it bullshit.
I think it is bullshit, but I would tell you, I think that what Ryman's saying here too is he's talking about OU has had consistent D-line shifting. Now they do shift around a lot. So I would tell you that I believe that it's probably not a big thing. And as far as that goes, but I mean, I guess we'll have to wait and see. I hadn't seen that one come towards Oklahoma yet. That doesn't mean that it's not something that couldn't come, because it could.
Well, and I think it's again, I think it's up to the discretion of the officials. And if I think if you're a team that does it all the time, I don't think they're going to look at it quite as much as if you're a team that doesn't shift very often, and then on third and short, you're up there shifting to make the O-line jump, you're going to get called for it. That's just kind of what I've seen up to this point.
Yeah, I guess I hadn't seen it yet, and I did hear something about it the other day and hadn't really thought about it since then. But I do think that, I think it's bullshit. I think that the more you see the way that, and look, I mean, I get it. I was talking to somebody at work today, and they were saying, that they don't like defensive games either. They want to see some scoring and all that kind of stuff. I understand that. I understand that that's kind of the way that it's gone that way in the NBA. It's gone that way in pretty much every sport. They're taking away your ability. In the NFL, they talk about it all the time. They're taking away your ability to actually do your job. And you're getting a lot of defensive guys hurt for the way that they're, with a lot of the way that they're getting guys hit or making them do hitting now, to where it's supposedly not going to hurt an offensive player, but it's going to hurt them more. To me, I just think it's all. I mean, look, man. At some point, we'd like to see. I'd really kind of like to see them. They already make all these rules for the offense to win the day. And I think maybe it's what we were talking about too, Coach. To be honest with you, none of these playing offensive guys win national championships, and that's what right now the best coaches in the country, quote unquote, are all offensive guys, and none of them have won a damn natty.
Exactly. And
so they don't like it.
Change the rules to help you win.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If the O-line down blocks, should the guard still chip the blitzer? He sees it coming. I think Ozeta should have chipped that linebacker on that Arnold interception. Yeah, look, I think that, man, that's getting into some of these, we're getting in the weeds a little bit, and I love that stuff to Dundee's. I'm good with that, but I hadn't really watched it that close as far as where that was. I think I know the play that you're talking, or I definitely know the play you're talking about on the pick six. But I don't think that I paid that much attention to that part of it. I know that they had a pressure on him early, but he should have eaten the ball.
Well, and I was just fixing to say, and you bring up a great point there. Should he chip off? Obviously, if the man he's helping has got his man taken care of, then he can chip off and help. But a lot of times, the way some of these offenses are created, guys, the chip off used to be an old scheme that was used a lot. And I'm not saying it's not used anymore, because it is. But a lot of offenses now, that's the quarterback's person that they've got to account for. And if he sees that blitzer coming, it's his job to get rid of the football. So it could be one of two ways. I'm not saying one's right, one's wrong, but there's different schemes that will give you different effects.
Yeah. Well, and I think that a lot of that, and Sean D, I think you're absolutely right when it comes to that. I think low-scoring defensive games are the best, but only when both teams are executing at a high level, not because of sloppy play. I'd agree with that. I think, you go back to those LSU Alabama games that year when they played in the national championship and in the regular season, and they were I think they were 9-6 games, or 6-3, whatever. But the football was good. They were knocking the shit out of each other.
It's a friggin' battle, and it's something that you look for in the violent game of football, and
Mhm.
and you look for those battles, and so I'm with you on that too. I mean, to me, and I was always a defensive minded guy
Sure.
myself, and
Won a lot of
I'd
football games
rather
that way,
be in a
coach.
battle.
Won a lot of damn football games like that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and that's to me again. I'm old school about that stuff, and defense. Defense wins championships. Offense wins games, and defense wins championships.
No doubt. No doubt. And I think that, there's no two ways around. I think in the end, what we're all getting at when it comes to this Oklahoma game, and I know what you guys are talking about, and you want to see Tatum in the game more too. And I think that's what we're seeing here. He should have been lined up on the left side of Arnold. Now, that's something that Arnold has to make sure he's doing that too. You can call out that protection and move him over there. That's something that Jackson has to do.
Yeah.
Right. And that's something that at this point, as the starter, it's your responsibility to call out that protection at this point. And when it comes to Tatum, I know that that's part of the reason that they haven't played him as much as we all think that they should when it comes. And, I'm not going to keep beating that dead horse. I'm not going to do it, but they've got to get Tatum in the game. And, if he's struggling with some of the blocking stuff, I don't think it's because of size or anything like that, because we've seen that he's big enough and strong enough to do it. He's made some good blocks, but I think that you need to help him out a little bit with some of that stuff. And that is the responsibility of they need to make sure that he knows what his responsibility is and make sure that they're reading that. And that's something for JA to get done. Right.
Yeah.
But I'm with you, Lemon. I'm glad to hear that they're no longer a bunch of boo birds as far as Jackson goes. I think there's still some. I don't know about anymore, but there's some. I think we're talking less about it because we're talking more about what Tennessee is saying instead of what you've got now. But I would tell you that I've been trying intentionally to stay off of Twitter just because of the fact that it's not even the Tennessee folks that are talking shit. I could give a shit about that. In fact, I say talk more if you're Tennessee. Keep on with that, right? Keep that energy up, because by the time you show up to the Palace on Saturday, and you're going to find out what it's like to play in a ruckus environment. You can say what you want about, we played like that, and we were able to play at Death Valley, blah blah blah. Let's not act like LSU was that great that year, because they weren't. Yeah, I know that they beat Alabama too, and got lucky doing it at home, but they went into the championship game with 3 losses. It wasn't their best team. And we still have yet to see Brian Kelly really do anything with all this talent, He's full of shit.
And he won't, trust me.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna get Coach Ricks wants to jump in real quick. Send it to him. What else have you seen over the last week or so, Coach, that let's talk a little bit about the rest of this Georgia survived in that game the other day, right?
I don't think it was anything unexpected. I mean, we have talked about that they're suspect. I mean, obviously Alabama beat them last year. And I know they're poised to come get some redemption for that. But at the end of the day, that wasn't super surprising to me. And I still think they're gonna. I still believe they'll have a loss coming up here.
Well, you would think because the week before that, South Carolina, and I think this probably has something to do with it, is South Carolina went in there and dog walked Kentucky the week before in the same place. Right. And so we haven't thought of much of South Carolina. Of course, they should have done the same thing when it came to they really should have beat the hell out of LSU this past week too.
Yeah, should have.
So it's just one of those things where I feel like, and you can't do the transitive property or any of that kind of stuff. We try not to do that as much as you don't, because sometimes matchups just work the way they work out.
Yeah.
But I would tell you that they
Matchups
didn't play well. They didn't play well, and they're not looking as good on offense as you would think that they need to look for them to make a championship run.
Right.
That's my thing about Georgia at this point. They got a big game coming up next week. A big game coming up next week against Alabama in Tuscaloosa. And right now, Bama looks better.
Well, I got to tell you, Georgia looked a little boring to me.
How did I know this shit was coming? That's a shot right across the bow of Shawty. Where you at, Shawty? Where is your ass at? They'll probably be off here in just a minute too. That's hilarious.
There you go.
I'm gonna write down when that was so I can make sure to make a short out of that one. That was hilarious. Do tell us more, Coach. Do tell us more. They seem a little boring.
Yeah, they definitely seemed a little boring. Should have gotten beat, to be quite honest. But yeah, kind of a boring football game. Matter of fact, as I was watching it, I fell asleep.
Yeah. That's true. That's true, chicken. You're not yelling at me, are you? Come on now. Getting big headed just because I made him a damn mod. Shit. Oh, that was pure BS. It's like they call targeting just because it's a big hit. They do that too.
Yeah,
hey, listen, that's happening a ton right now. That's happening a ton right now. And listen, that targeting call, there was two really bad calls in that South Carolina LSU game. Really bad calls that both went the wrong way, and both went the way of LSU. Still, when you get up as much as you did, and I know that they lost their quarterback, you ended up losing your quarterback. That's tough, but I think that you got to find a way. To me, that's still a Beamer problem, man. You got to find a way to win that fucking football game. Coach Ricks, welcome into the show, sir. Well, it looks like he came in frozen. When I see you moving, we'll bring you back. Oh, there he is. There he is. There
he is.
Coach, what are you up to?
What's going on?
What's up, Coach Ricks?
What's going on, Coach?
How you
How's
doing,
everything
brother?
going? Oh man, just had a coach's clinic and just got back home and saw you guys online. And said, let me jump on and voice my little opinion on a few things.
Woo, hey, buddy.
I miss those days. I miss those days coaching.
It's crazy right now, man. Some of the parents and some of the ADs, man, they have a vision that ain't football. It's crazy.
Well, I think we've been talking about that a little bit here, just as we've been discussing with some of the people in here, is some of the rule changes in college football, and they're pointing towards taking away a lot of defensive play and taking away the what has made football traditionally great. And you love to see those hard hits, and now the targeting. Every damn thing you look at is targeting, which they're not all targeting. And I understand we're trying to protect the players, but at what point does that you protect the player, but then you start taking away from the game of football? So
it diminishes the game.
Yes,
there are some hits that I'm like, that's a damn good hit, and then here come a flag, and I'm like, back in the day, those things were, we could do those things, and I'm all for the protocol of concussions and things like that, because me coaching young men, I don't want no one to get hurt. I don't want no one to get any kind of bodily injuries, but you teach them the technique, and now you're telling me the technique is not going to work. Because when you're going full speed, you can't slow down to stop to find out where you're going to hit them at, because that's not football.
Exactly. Well, and you're seeing offensive players too play into this that, you know, they see somebody coming at them full speed, they're dropping
put
their
their head
hat
down.
to try to get,
Yep.
yeah, exactly. So they
Yep.
get that, you know, helmet to helmet contact. And so now they're using the system to, but again, they could get injured doing that too. So I don't know, but I think it's taken a lot from the game.
Coach, we just came from a meeting to where that was brought up, and the district that we're in right now, they're trying to look at it as being, could there be an offensive targeting call because he initiated the contact, and
Yeah.
if we get into that, it's going to be tick for tat because now we're going to try to figure out who calls the targeting. Because you are absolutely right, there are a lot of guys, and some coaches hate to say it, they teach that technique to
Yeah.
receivers and running backs to put that head down but now you're putting that young man in harm's way and you're teaching him the wrong technique.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
it's sad,
Right.
man.
Agreed.
But I saw you guys on
Well,
there.
and you know,
I gotta jump on to help you guys out and everything with some of these things.
absolutely. Absolutely. Come on. I was just talking about how damn boring the Georgia game was.
Man, don't get me on that.
He's taking a shot at Shoddy on that one for the A&M comments, the A&M game comments.
This week, Jason, man, has been the most complicating week I've had in a long time because for the first time, Tennessee is relevant and everybody's losing their damn minds. And if Oklahoma does lose, which I don't think they will.
Hold on real quick. Relevant I know that they're in the top 10, but they haven't beaten anybody
They
yet.
haven't, but it's the fans and everyone pushing that narrative that, oh, Tennessee is this, Tennessee is that. I think Tennessee is a great team. Don't get me wrong. They are a great team. But sometimes great teams run into an even greater team and then they get exposed. Now, I'm not saying they're going to get exposed, but I'm just saying this is going to be a dogfight. It's not going to be, I mean, people are talking about, oh, man, we're going to embarrass y'all. Josh got receipts for what Bob did. And I'm like, dude, look at where you're coming to. I can see you guys might, and that's a damn slur might win that game. I just think that Zach and BV are going to do some things that Nico's never seen, and it's going to put him into a situation to where his check downs and things that he's used to are going to won't be there. Then what are you going to do? And I don't want nobody to get hurt, but at the same point in time, OU football players are hearing this crap 24/7 from everyone that they're going to get embarrassed on Norman Field. I just don't see it.
No.
I just don't see it. The tradition is too strong there, man.
You're not coming into the Palace and going to boat race anybody. If you get a win there, I'll be surprised, first of all. If you get a win, you're not going to come in there and beat them by 30. That shit ain't happening. It doesn't happen in their worst years. You don't come in and just push anybody around at Oklahoma. That's just not the way it works. I think one of the worst losses I can remember was that year that Notre Dame came in and kind of made them look pretty ugly.
Well, and I have to tell you this, guys. This is the first true test for both programs this year. And what I see is I go back and look at history. And what does history tell you about OU in big ball games? What does history tell you about Tennessee in big ball games? And let's be honest. And you guys know I'm going to preface this again. I'm not an OU fan. Okay. I love their program, but I'm not a fan. But I will tell you this. You look at both histories, and Tennessee shits down their leg in big ball games. Fact. That's a fact. Go back and look. If you're a Tennessee fan, go back and look in the big ball games how they shit down their pants. Okay. Mm-hmm. OU, on the other hand, does not do that. They played a high level of football, and they have for years and years in big ball games. Therefore, I'm picking OU at home to win this ball game.
Right. Yeah, and they've made it personal, and that's the other thing too, is you can't look, man. We all know that this is the kind of game that emotions matter. Emotions matter.
Mhm.
And when you give somebody bulletin board material and they're going to be reading that, you don't think that they're reading every damn bit of, you don't think that they've seen all these comments that have been on Twitter, because they have. And if they haven't, they've got them posted over every urinal at the Switzer Center. You know, so you're going to read that shit whenever you get there because they want you to. And it is personal. And the thing is the other part of it is that then you got Josh saying stuff like, I know that and I know he was kidding around. It didn't bother me so much, but it was a stupid thing to say because some Oklahoma fans are going to say, fuck you, Josh, because they were saying, you know, I know it'll be nice and quiet when we're on offense at the Palace because, you know, out of respect for me. No, man. And you know what? I give him props for doing it because he's upset still about you know, Coach Stoops and what happened and all that, right? That, you know what, but that probably wasn't the way to go. It probably wasn't the way to go about it. I just think that, you know, because Oklahoma fans are just as crazy as these Tennessee fans. I can promise you that shit. We know that. We've got them that are wanting to, you know, get rid of that. They've been talking about getting rid of Seth Luttrell for 3 weeks, and they've been talking, you know, the first time they lost a game, they were talking about firing Brent Venables. We know these guys. They're around.
Yeah.
So, and they don't. I mean, hell, I saw somebody on Twitter last week go crazy on Gerald McCoy. On Gerald McCoy.
Yeah, that was crazy.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's just because, and he was being critical. And you know, Gerald goes a little far, I think, sometimes. But look, he played there. He's got the right to say whatever the hell he feels like he needs to say. I mean, I wouldn't tell him not to say shit. It's Gerald McCoy.
Yeah.
Do I think he's right all the time? No, I don't. But, you know, it is what it is.
I mean, I think a lot of this stuff, man, is getting kind of personal. It's taken away from the game that's coming up. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of Tennessee fans here on the East Coast, man, that's losing their damn mind. And I just don't understand how they feel like just because you beat NC State, that is your proof that the program is back and then heading in the right direction, which, don't get me wrong, neither team has really played anybody, but the leadership that's on the defense for Oklahoma is really going to show up. It's really going to show up because that's something, man, that you can't coach. You would love to have senior leadership on defense to where now when things get hostile and things don't go the way they're supposed to, they've seen every defense pretty much. I mean, excuse me, they've seen almost every offense so far. The offense that Josh runs is what everybody in the Big 12 ran. So this defense is pretty much used to what Josh is going to run.
That's right.
So I don't know what we're talking about. And like I said, yeah, I'm a homer, but the crazy talking, man, that I've been hearing for the last few days, man, that's why I haven't been on the podcast. I've just been letting it just go because I take this shit personal because when you coach, man, you still got to play the damn game. And
Amen,
I just
brother.
I'll tell my kids, shut the hell up. Don't worry about what people are saying. We'll go out there and we're proving on the field. And that's it.
Yeah.
I don't play that game.
No, and I don't think they care. Chicken, another $50 super chat.
Dang, Chicken.
Appreciate you.
Hey, man. Hey, Chicken.
Madness.
I need some money, man.
Right? I'm gonna have to,
You want to loan me a couple
I'm gonna have
dollars?
to censor myself. He says I don't give a shit. Love me some Coach Roy Ball bottle on me. Appreciate it, Chicken. Damn. Appreciate
Thanks,
that, man.
Chicken. You the man, brother.
You
I'm
are
gonna
the
go
man.
buy me a bottle after the show.
But
Hell, I may leave right now.
Right. And look, I mean, let's talk about NC State, though. They're talking about, I mean, they haven't, first off, they played UT, Chat, Kent State, and NC State. And the NC State, you know, yeah, they blew them out. But Louisiana Tech, they were losing that game at the half. They struggled with the game. They win it by 10 over Louisiana Tech. Come on, man.
Jason, my one of my partners at my job, he went to Western Carolina. NC State played Western Carolina. Western Carolina is a FCS school.
That's right.
It took NC State to score 21 points in the fourth quarter to win that game.
Oh.
So there again, we can't sit here and say tit for tat and everything, but an FCS school should not be in the lead to where you need 21 points in the fourth quarter to win that ball game.
They won 38-21 in the
And they scored 21 points in the fourth quarter.
Right. I'm looking at it right here.
It's I mean, we've all thought that Michigan was good before they played Texas. So we don't really know how good these teams are until they start playing the meat and potatoes of the schedule. So I mean, who thought that Georgia would be tied or in a dogfight with Kentucky last week? Coach, you did? I didn't. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. I swear I did not
didn't
see
really
that coming. I thought they were going to boat race them and everything, and then they'll be done by halftime.
Well, and I think that they overlooked them. There's no two ways around it. They overlooked them.
Boring.
What did he say? Tulane with what?
He said Tulane would dog walk NC State. You're not wrong. That's what I said that the other day. I said that yesterday on the show with Big Mike. Look, I think that the best look, we watched Tulane give everything they wanted to K-State. K-State turns around and beats the hell out of Arizona this past weekend. But the week before, they should have lost it. They put on almost 500 yards on them, and Oklahoma held them down. They had a dynamic quarterback as well. I'm not saying that he's better than Nico. I'm telling you that Nico is not the reason that they're looking the way that they look. It's a part of it. Because now they're not just one-dimensional, but if you make them one-dimensional in this game, we lost coach. If you make them one-dimensional in this game coming up, we'll see. Because I don't think that they're going to be able to run the football. Oklahoma's averaging giving up 2.2 yards per rush.
Yep.
2.2 yards per rush. That's number one in the country.
Well, Jason, here's another thing too. I mean, and we can get this into Coach get back. The same team that came to Norman last week, Tulane, is the same team, leadership-wise, senior-wise, that beat USC last year in the bowl game.
Mm-hmm.
And Willie Fritz did not take any of his players. He did a Brent Venables. I do not want you guys leaving Tulane. I want you guys to stay there and finish what you started. So these guys were dude. Tulane would beat the crap out of everybody that Tennessee played.
Yeah.
And Houston,
and they'd give Tennessee a hard time too.
Yes. Houston
and the coach from Tulane even came out and what did he say? He said it's the best defense he's ever seen.
Yeah. No, he said we came in with a game plan. We saw something on film that we thought that we could expose. They countered it with something that we've never seen, and then we were just sitting there trying to figure out what we could do. That's what's going to happen Saturday. Tennessee hasn't seen anything that OU's going to go out there and do Saturday. Now, Jason, like I said, I know me and you both homers. I just think I know.
I'm actually, but we don't just go here and start picking based on this for Oklahoma's sake. I'll tell you when they're going to get beat. I will.
Man, look, I'm gonna tell you, I've only had 2 games, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I've had 2 games that I was worried about before the season started: Alabama and Ole Miss. Those are the 2 games that I was worried about before the season started.
Yeah,
Listen,
so. I'm going to tell you what I said in that video yesterday. I've been more worried about Tennessee than I have been about Missouri or Ole Miss, to be quite honest with you. Even though it's a home game or whatever. Coach, we lost you there for a second.
He went and got that drink.
He did go and get that drink.
He went and got that
drink. That's all right. Yeah, I may have to hit the fridge here in a second too. But look, I would just say that I will tell you if I don't think that they can win the game. And I would tell, and I've said a bunch. I'm not going to be the guy that predicts the downfall of freaking Alabama. That ain't me.
No,
I'm not doing it. I'm seeing them as a better offense than they've had in a while. with what, and even though I don't know if Milroe, I mean, the numbers are right there showing us that he can throw the ball. And they beat the shit out of Wisconsin last week.
Yeah.
Beat the shit out of them. They're only getting better week to week, and Oklahoma doesn't get them till the end of the year. That's a tough damn football game. It's a tough damn football game. Texas is another one of those teams that hadn't played fucking nobody, and they've got them ranked number 1 right now. Golly, give me a break on that.
Hey, Coach, I got a question for you.
Has finally returned. Your brand.
Coach, I got a question for you. I know the answer because I know I've done it. Before a big game, what is your emphasis to your team before a big game? And I already know you know it. I think he's muted.
You're muted, Coach.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay. The emphasis all week when playing a big game is, keep a low profile, stay calm. Because I tell you what, in my early coaching career, I made the mistake of, I had a couple of big ball games, and hell, I was pumping the guys up all week long.
Yep.
And hell, we left it all at practice.
Yep.
And we got our ass kicked in the ball game. So, it took me a couple. I'm a little slow, so it took me a little while to figure out that, the weeks we have those big ball games, we want to keep a low profile, work hard, keep doing what you do in practice, and then at game time, let it loose. So yeah, that's because hell, you wear them out all week by having them up here, and then it comes game time and shit, they're down here. So yeah, I'm with you on that, Coach.
My first year coaching, I was that way. I felt like I had to do and be everywhere. I wanted to make sure the OC was doing his job, the DC was doing his job, the receiver coach was doing his job. Then I want to make sure the parents and the fundraisers doing their thing. I did so much that when game time came, I was so discombobulated. I didn't know what to do because I was trying to make sure everybody was doing their job except my job.
Yeah.
And we did. We got boat raced to by a team that we spanked, and they turned around and spanked us.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I know you're gonna say that. I just tell my players the same thing. Just keep a low profile, man. I don't want to hear or see you on Twitter. I don't want to hear any rebuttals to anything. You always stay professional. You always stay, one step ahead of them. But after the ball game, shake their hand, get on the bus, and then we can talk noise on the way back home.
Well, and that was my thing too. I mean, we're going to talk shit after the win, not before. I mean, because like I said earlier in the show before you came on, because when you're talking shit before the game, then you get your ass handed to you, then you got to eat scoopfuls of shit. And that ain't too tasty. So do it after the ball game, classily. Be classy about it. You can talk some crap and be classy, and that's what I heard you say. Walk across, shake their hand, and then after the ball game, then you can talk it up. But just be classy about it.
Yeah.
Well, and I think you were probably the first coach that I heard say, Coach Roybal, that say it with your pads, say it with your damn pads.
Yeah.
Talk that shit with your pads, and that's it.
Yeah.
But I really do think that I don't know how much of this is coming directly out of the locker room, but this is a fact. The bottom line is that Tennessee fans have lost their damn mind because, and I think that, look, man, I think that, I mean, even just a second ago, Mike Crossan even said it pissed him off whenever he heard that, heard what Josh said about being quiet and all that. So he said it right here. Yeah, I didn't like that comment from Josh. That's our house, and I took it personal. Listen, and don't think for one second that Coach Venables, as much as he loves Josh, I mean, anybody, you damn sure, you can bet he loves Josh. But don't think for a second that he's not going to use that to his advantage.
Well, I got to tell you. I got to tell you, I coached against some of my very best friends. and some that were like brothers to me. But I'm going to tell you what, I wanted to whip their ass worse than anybody.
Yeah.
And so again, you're going to go into that ball game wanting to beat his ass.
Right.
Yeah.
Handily.
Well, that's the funny part. Yeah. Go ahead, Coach. Finish.
No, I was just going to tell you, when I was at Dallas Skyline, I had a coach that I helped him get the job at Dallas Molina, and he was living in my house when we played them. And you know what? Living with me, sharing my home, my food. I love the guy. But at the end of the day, when we were lined up across each other on the football field, it was ass whipping time.
Ass whipping time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, and when it was over, it was all good again on both sides. So.
Right. And I agree with what you're saying here, Richard. Yeah, it's fan bases that get riled up. It is. But and listen, and sometimes though, you know how it is that these players get to talking shit too. And and coaches, you know how coaches are, they for sure do it. Right. But most of the time you want to keep your players under control. But when you go out there and you get a little loose lip like what Josh did, and listen, I'm not saying that there's anything really wrong with what Josh said. It didn't bother me that much. It didn't bother me at all. But I will tell you that these are the kind of things that good coaches use to motivate.
Yep.
And I can guarantee you there's not a player on that damn team that gives two shits about Josh Heupel.
No. Well, and Josh said that in jest. I mean, he was just trying to play it up, be funny. But again, as a coach, you got to understand, people are looking for shit. And for you to say that, for you it was funny, kind of jabbing a little bit, but just kind of a funny little deal.
I thought it was funny. But it didn't bother me at all.
But you know what? When you're looking for stuff, hey, you don't think that's going to go up on the wall on the bulletin board in the locker room?
Well, here's what it accomplished. You've got Danny Stutzman calling out the fans saying we need you louder in the fourth quarter than you were this year. This past week, you kind of let us down at the end of the game. We needed you there. And he was talking more directly to the student section that left and had been quiet. Yep. And he said maybe Bob Stoops will call him out, and Coach Stoops did call them out. As far as the fan base is concerned, you've heard Coach Venables kind of calling out the fan base, saying that and listen, if you have tickets to this football game and you are not there in full throat on Saturday, what the hell's the matter with you? Give your tickets to somebody who will be there.
Yeah.
Because this is what it's all about right here is the SEC. In the SEC, there's no way in hell that you shouldn't have a significant home field advantage for this football game.
Absolutely. And
it's
you will.
First fucking one. I don't know what else to say. Real quick, this is fun. This is the thing. They're talking shit about you had trouble with Houston and you had trouble with this team and that. Yeah, okay, Temple was bad. You've got number 134, number 76, which is under Houston, and then Tulane is ranked in the 45th right now anyway in the FPI. Okay, Tulane's been higher than that, and they're one of those non-con teams that if 2 losses is going to make it hard for them to get into the it's going to make it hard for them to get into the playoff. But if they win the American, they're going to have a shot depending on how it goes. Right now, it looks like it's a Memphis thing. But I don't know, man. It goes to show you that they haven't played anybody either, and they're pounding their chest about stuff, acting like they've done something. You haven't done shit, and you haven't faced anything like what you're about to find out, what you're going to face when you get to Norman. Defensively, it's a new ball game this weekend. And I've been saying this since before the season started. I think that they're dangerous, but there's less and less that I've really been all that worried about Tennessee. I know they're explosive. I know they are. And we've seen them be explosive. But again, you see those things like they don't have any sacks from their best player on defense. No sacks. Against that? No sacks. That's weird. And then they haven't had to go up against the freaking defense like what they're about to see. They haven't. They're going to get waves of that shit coming off of the line, and they're going to get it from every different. They're going to get it from every different angle too, coming from it too, and that's just how it's going to be. You know, thank you. Hey, thanks for that too, Stephen G. Appreciate you popping that into the Discord for us, man. I appreciate that. Hey, Coach Bull Nuts. Good evening.
Bull nuts, baby. Bull nuts.
Thank you, Neilio. We appreciate that super chat. And of course,
time for some calf fries. Time for some calf fries.
Man, I don't think that Tennessee, they don't run a 12 personnel that often. All right. They like to try to spread the ball out, get the 4 or 5 receivers and all that. So there isn't anyone helping the D line chip block on the ends and things like that. So now you're letting R. Mason Thomas go one-on-one with someone. You're letting the other side go one-on-one with someone. Ethan Downs go one-on-one. He's not going to have the time that he's used to throw the deep balls, because most coaches know you need at least 3 to 4 seconds to run a proper route deep post.
Or deep route? Oh, yeah, no doubt.
And hope that the tailback chips the end to give you an extra few seconds. Now you're asking your defensive tackle to guard 2 elite rushers on the end. So when they blitz from the end, what's the quarterback going to do? Move up in the pocket. And that's a dangerous place for him to be as a freshman.
Least most of them do.
I teach my quarterbacks and everything. If the ends is collapsing down, don't roll out. You submit up in the pocket. Trust me, there's going to be some room for you to run somewhere to get up out of there and everything. We don't do this. Let's try to go to the flats, because everybody can speed rush to the flats. Get your butt north and south, and that's it.
Yep.
But I don't think he's going to have enough time to throw those deep passes that Tennessee fans are so accustomed to running against Chattanooga. And I believe they ran for 442 yards against Chattanooga. I mean, Kent State. That shit is not happening against Oklahoma.
And that's the whole thing, is what you've seen out of their fan base when they're posting stuff on Twitter and stuff. And even I saw this from an Oklahoma fan talking about, this scares me. Well, why did it scare you? The guy was running wide ass open in that secondary, and nobody was anywhere in the vicinity of Nico. I could have thrown that fucking touchdown pass.
Jason, if you watched the game, did you watch that game?
No.
I can't say game. All right, no. I did it because, like I said,
parts of it. I did watch parts of it. I watched like a replay on it.
These fans, and Coach, you know this, when you break down footage, as a coach, you see a whole different ball game than what everybody's looking at. I'm looking at, is my tackle doing what he's supposed to pull? Is my guard doing what he's supposed to do? I'm looking at the interior of it. I'm not looking at my receivers and skill players. I'm looking at what causes the game to go. Is your right tackle, left tackle, your center, your right guard, and right tackle. So by me saying this is this. It's going to be a long night for that young man. It's going to be a long night, because pressure, is that old saying, pressure breaks pipes. And if you're getting pressured and you've never had to experience this before, now you get happy feet.
They don't have the running game working like we know they're not going to have it working. You ain't getting 300 yards on OU.
And that's been the strength of their offense, is their running game.
Yes.
And it's not going to be the strength in this ball game. And you take the strength of their offense off the table, and now they're becoming one-dimensional. And now you have a great opportunity, because, again, I think for the first time this season, you're going to see the true blitz package. And I think it's been intentional. I think Coach Venables and his defense coordinator, I think this has been intentional, not to show any of the blitz packages, because they knew that the Tennessee game this week would be where they needed to run the blitz packages. And I think you're going to see a big dose of it, a big dose.
Yeah. Well, as BV has shown, with a young quarterback. He wants to make him very uncomfortable. And any quarterback, especially when you're a D1 quarterback, you should, I'm not going to say you will, you should be able to read through your progressions and hit the guy that's open. But after your first look and your second look, you need to start thinking about now that time clock in your head, it's condensing down to 0. I got to make a move, because you don't get against Oklahoma and the Notre Dames and the Texas. I give it Texas. You don't get that 4, 5, and 6 seconds to get rid of the football.
No.
You on the ground by then. So now that internal clock is going to be running faster, because now I know against Chattanooga we could do this. So now they're looking for those big plays. And like you said, when those plays are not there, it's that oh shit syndrome.
Yeah, exactly.
Now what are we going to do?
What the hell do we do now? Yeah.
And
then nothing's working. And then nothing's working. Your run game's not working. Your pass game's not working. Yeah, absolutely.
You start to panic, and now the coach is trying to calm you down. But I always tell quarterbacks and the skill players, once you get into a ball game, your position is easy, because on the offense, you already know what you're going to do. Yeah. That's not a hard thing. Defense, to me, is much harder, because you have to stop someone. Offense is, I tell my players, we rest on offense. We never rest on defense. We rest on offense.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to come up with some new packages and everything. And I'm pretty sure they haven't shown what they're going to run against OU. But I know one thing. I watched that game against Kent State. They ran 12 personnel 13 times in that game. And they got over 300 yards on those 13 plays.
Yeah.
80-yard runs, 75-yard runs, 65-yard runs.
Big plays, yeah.
I'm saying if once OU diminishes those big plays, now what are you going to do?
Yeah.
They haven't been in a dogfight yet. OU's been in 2 of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And being in a dogfight, I don't care. I guarantee you, Georgia has a greater respect for Kentucky now, being in a dogfight, and they're not going to overlook no one else no more.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Like
I said, man, I'm fired up, man. I've been hearing this shit all week, man, and I'm just okay. Hey, all I can say, Jason, is okay. Coach, you want to know?
Oh, I'm excited about it. I thought it was hilarious. I already thought it was hilarious, because literally I hadn't made a video that was really talking about Tennessee yet. We hadn't said shit. You and I hadn't really talked about it on our post game the other day, Coach Ricks. Me and Coach really hadn't said much. Now, preseason, we talked about that we felt like this was probably a win for the very reason. But Miguel asked the question here, and I want to answer. You think they've shown the whole playbook? And he's just talking about Oklahoma? No, they haven't shown. They haven't shown shit of the playbook when it comes to the defensive side. Offensively, I'm pretty sure that they haven't either. I think they've shown maybe a little more because of the fact that they've had Jackson in distress a little bit, right? With some of it. But so I think they've been looking for something there. But I also think that if you get Nick Anderson back this week, you see a whole different ball game.
That's
because now you don't get back at Deion Burks.
Andrew Anthony gonna be back too.
I think he is too.
Yeah,
I think he is too. I don't know I'm not gonna act like I've got. So I do actually have.
No, they were talking about it.
I don't know exactly what they're talking about and what's real and what isn't. I mean, I feel like there's a chance, right? If you do,
this is a game that everybody had circled, Jason. I guarantee you, this is the game that everybody had circled. Everybody think it's Texas. It's not Texas. Think about it. First SEC ball game, night game at Norman. You know how long OU fans been begging for the night games and this and that. College game day gonna be there. This is a big thing. So what better stage than to prove a point?
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm just saying, and no one's talking about the X factor of this game. Everybody thinks it's going to be the defense. I think it's going to be Bauer Sharp. Because if they keep trying to blitz,
hey, listen, the tight end is
they're going to try to blitz J.A. Hey, dump that. I tell my quarterbacks, your best friend is not a running back, it's a tight end. Because he's going to always be open. because nobody guards tight end, hardly ever.
I did see this Trojan fight. I did see this. I was reading about that earlier today. I'm not sure what I think about it. I think that and is it NIL or is it for profit share?
It's for NIL. It's for NIL.
Because it wasn't.
That's the only reason why you do that. That's the
some
only
bullshit.
reason why you do
That's
that.
some bullshit anyways. Your profit share has to do with your tickets.
Yep. I'm just
Oh,
telling you, I
whatever, man.
guarantee you that's for NIL because it comes at the right time of a big game like this, and you wanna bring that
The
up.
problem that I have with that is that it's already costing. They want the fans to pay for their NIL, and they're here. They are. You've got the collectives, and they're out there freaking. They've got the basket out all the time. And look, I believe that you, as a fan, that you can help with that if you can. I don't think that you should have to, but I think that you can. In the end, this goes back to this is the greedy ass schools not wanting to give up the fucking money.
The money. Yep. Well,
I don't love it. I don't
it's
love
legal
it.
now. It's legal now, so they're trying to find another way so they can make their pockets a little bit fatter and not have to go into the kitty to make sure we get X, Y, and Z players.
And they charge the fan base.
Well, and they're already been trying to charge the fan base. So does it surprise me? No, but I don't love it. I don't love shit like this because, again, look, if you've looked at ticket prices for this fucking football game, just this game alone,
Oh my goodness.
the cheapest thing I saw a couple of weeks ago was $300. Right now, it's insanity.
I wanted to try to sneak into town just to see the game, just for me and my wife.
Bro, I've been looking all week, and it's
look,
not,
Jason,
I mean, I
for
may
two-
sneak into town, but I ain't going to be into the game probably.
for 2 tickets in section, I think it was section 2 something, $1,300 for 2 tickets. And I don't want to go that bad.
Bro,
I don't want to
feel
go
you,
that
man.
bad.
And imagine what it's going to be like for Bama.
But Bama is
If
one of
they're
those
still, if
proven
they're still
schools.
both in it, if they're still both in it though,
If there's
and they
They're
will
still
be both in it, I would think.
Yeah.
Ugh. That's going to be brutal. Second to last week of the season, they're in town. That's going to be brutal. And I'm just saying, it's crazy. You know what I mean? It really is. But already you got these ridiculous ticket prices already as it is. I saw people selling their season tickets for I think it was at least double.
Yeah.
And we're not even in, your season ticket packages do include tickets. I think you have to buy it separate. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've had season tickets, but where you have to buy the Red River separately or whatever. But they weren't including their season ticket packages that they're selling these tickets at double the price already. And then that didn't even include the Red River stuff. So I've seen that all over the place to where people that are selling those tickets, because people do, listen, and don't get me wrong, I don't necessarily blame you for making a profit because that's the way tickets are. But damn,
don't do it.
It's already costing enough money, and now we're going to continue. Now you want us to pay for the players too? What the fuck are we talking about? Your revenue share, you just got this huge deal for the 12-team playoff. You're getting $100 million a year in the SEC, up to $100 million by the time this
TV
contract is over with, the TV money, all that other shit, and they can make their money off of their jerseys, and you want us to pay for that shit for the NIL? Come on, man. I don't want to do it for the football team. I don't want to have to do it for the football team. I would rather do it for these other programs at OU that don't have a lot of money to give these kids. They deserve a little bit of NIL cash too. A little bit of, you're not going to give them the profit share for, and I'm not saying that it's the same thing, but the thing is that if you're supposed to make the money as a football player, you'll make it because they're going to pay you just like they always have. You guys got me started on some shit.
I saw something real cool that Mac Brown is doing in North Carolina up here, man, and it's pretty cool. He lets almost every player has a sponsor at a company that they do function for. If a company is having let's say they're having a company meeting, the players come there and sign autographs, do things, all this with all the big people, and they get their money that way.
Yeah.
I don't feel like fans should be paying for anything other than just come to see me play or see the guys play. Beers is already outrageous when you go to a ball game to get beer or get food or whatever. You're already paying an ass and an arm and a leg anyway.
Yeah.
But I love how Matt Brown does it, man. He takes his guys out and they go to these companies, and they pretty much make their money by just doing it that way.
And for everybody that wants, I mean, for as much shit as we can talk about Coach Prime right now, the one thing I will say is this: he has taught those kids how to market their self and make that money off of NIL. They're not offering up a bunch of damn cash. They're going to show you how to do it yourself as an influencer, which is, I mean, that's just, they're not just forking over cash to players as NIL money. They're not doing it. He's, and that's one of the things that I've always said that I think Coach Prime did a really good job with, that was that he has an unbelievable social media, team that, and of course, his son and everything else, that they're showing these kids how you can, build your own brand. That was something that's important. And I think you got to I want to see more of that and less laziness like this shit. Tennessee set up a GoFundMe to raise money to replace the goalpost back in 22 after they tore them down after the Bama win. Yeah. You know what? You know how you don't have to pay for that shit? Don't do stupid shit like rushing the field and tearing down the fucking goalposts. Yep. We wouldn't do that at Oklahoma. We're not rushing the damn. We're not rushing the field for nobody. That's just not how you're supposed to do it. Notre Dame's not going to do that.
Act like you've been there before.
That's a fucking Texas Tech thing, folks.
Well, but you think about it though.
Shit.
But you think about it. It in a lot of ball games. I mean, I can see that in a huge ball game, but you think about it, and those teams that aren't winning all the time, they tend to win one and they go pull down the goalpost. And again, like I used to tell the kids that were playing, hell, when you score, act like you've been there. Right. Same thing when you win a ball game. Yeah. Act like you've been there before. Don't, shit. I don't know. I go nuts when I see that kind of crap. It's
Bevo, it was probably just a reaction. I don't think I got you, but it was probably a reaction by everybody because you kind of earned it. You know that.
Well, it's the Bevo.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And
the brand has finally returned. Your brand.
Who put you in time? I don't know who did it. It wasn't me, I promise. But the mods are definitely trigger happy. It's my fault. I promote this behavior, folks. This is what I do.
Coach Rex, you know what this is, right? Horns down. Right.
Yeah.
You know what this is, right?
He was in the military. He knows what it is.
You know what? I won't even get on that. We used to what's the old saying in the military? You ate up and you a soup sandwich.
Fucked up like a soup sandwich. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like a football bat.
Yeah.
Fucked up like a football
bat. Always say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
That's where all those really good sayings come from, is from, poor bastards that are out in the suck.
Man. I think
hey, Bevo. Go ahead, Coach.
Bevo, is he still talking crazy?
No, I was just gonna say, Bevo, we could go get us some bull nuts.
Some Bevo balls.
Bevo balls.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Man, look, I love what this week has done for
this thing right here is everything. What I'm talking about. Tech does this shit all the time, and they actually, like, when they did that against Texas, it was fucked up. They're over there. You got that stupid kid running behind them and knocking into that player. So first off, do something. You know, Tech needs to do a better job because they don't do a very good job at all of policing their fans at all. We've seen it for years and years and years. Batteries. They talk about tortillas. They throw more than fucking tortillas. I promise you that. But that rush in the field stuff is dangerous. And there was Coach Saban talked about it. He didn't bitch about it to the media. He talked about it to the SEC. It got out to the media the next year when he was talking about that. But you didn't hear him saying a ton to the media about it. But that was dangerous.
No.
It's not just dangerous for the players and for the coaches or whoever else, which it is.
Yeah.
But it's also dangerous for, you know, that kid from last year from Notre Dame that ran up there and I saw actually a kid at Michigan that did this shit to Quinn Ewers the other day and ran up to Quinn Ewers and then to get a picture and then throws the horns down. He's lucky Quinn didn't knock the shit out of him.
Knock the hell out of him.
You know, and Caleb Williams could have knocked the fuck out of that kid at Notre Dame last year too.
Absolutely.
Oh,
He
yeah.
pulled
Should
out that
Yeah.
shit. He
And
was
should.
looking for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys, I mean, it's not okay to do all this stuff. And to me, I think, you know, as a fan of Oklahoma, we expect better than that. We're not. Don't be rushing the fucking field. It's not okay for an Oklahoma fan to do it. It's just not.
No.
Because this is a blue blood we're talking about. We're supposed to beat you. Period. No matter if we're as good or not, the belief is you're supposed to win that fucking game. So don't over celebrate that shit. You're at home. Don't do it. And they better not do it if they beat Alabama this year. That's all I got to say. But I don't think that you're going to see a ton of that. And people are talking about, oh, they're just having fun. They're just having fun. It'll be all fun and games until somebody gets trampled to death.
That's right.
Yeah.
The first lawsuit is gonna take care of that because it's the what they say it's the university's responsibility to take care of the fans once they get through the gate. So once that happens and somebody gets hurt, I'm just telling you, I mean, we live in a day and age right now where everybody wants to sue you for something.
Yep. That's right.
As free money and everything, the way they look at it. But it's unfortunate, man, that some of these young guys do that. You know, but we'll see.
Agreed.
I didn't know Chicken was from Greenville, North Carolina. Okay.
He lived out there for a while, yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's in my stomping ground.
Yeah, and Sean D's saying the SEC fines schools $100K, $250 for the second offense. And I think it was something like that. But Tech's done it 3 or 4 times in the last few years. And
Well, it's the only 3 or 4 games they've won.
that's true. I mean, for God's sakes, why are you doing that for a Texas game when Texas is in your damn conference? You're supposed to beat them sometimes, especially Texas in the year that they beat them. Shit, they hadn't up until last year. Texas ain't done a fucking thing. What are you doing that for?
You know, I used to enjoy. I mean, you know, Jason, we're so close to Texas Tech. You can throw a rock in their backyard from here, and I used to enjoy.
They throw batteries, Coach. You know better.
Yeah, I know they throw batteries, but I used to enjoy going over and watching a football game there every once in a while. And I tell you what, in the last few years I haven't gone because it's pathetic what's going on at Texas Tech in that entire program. And I can even take it a step further and say in their entire athletics, it's just I don't know. Personal opinion, guys. So that's just me, but
they're half
not good shit. That's a great way to say it.
It's a fact. It's a fact, man. Sorry, but it ain't. I'm not lying.
It's unfortunate.
It's a basketball. It's a basketball school that don't win shit at basketball either.
You know, I've been saying that for years.
It is what it is.
Well,
it is what it is. And I like Joey McGuire. Don't get me wrong. I like Joey, but I just don't know that you can really. I think it's a tough place to win. I think it's a tough place to win.
I think the honeymoon stage is over because when he first came in, everybody had this great admiration for him, saying that he was a great hire, which I think he still is a great coach.
In Oklahoma in the same year.
Don't get me wrong. I think it's a great hire. What they thought was he's such a great known person in the Texas area that they felt like he was going to get all the talent or he would get first dibs at talent. But
They thought
sometimes
he
and
was going to bring
everything,
in all those Metroplex kids,
yes.
all the Dallas Fort Worth area kids, and
But
it's not happening.
reality had to sink in. Texas Tech versus a Oklahoma or even an Oklahoma State or Texas or somewhere else, you're not going to get those players going to Texas Tech.
No.
So,
Well,
I mean,
first of all, guys, let's admit it. Texas Tech, it's uglier than shit. I
Yeah.
mean,
They got
I
good
don't care how.
facilities. They do have money. They got money.
Yeah,
and facilities,
but I'm
they're
telling you, the
flat man.
landscape is uglier than shit, and there's
Flat.
not much to do in Lubbock, Texas, for a college kid. And so you're
Yeah.
right, Coach. They're not going to get those kids
No.
starting. That's the first step in getting them, and they're not going to get them. And then obviously there's other things that they're going to come for.
Jason, I want to use one of your saying that you always use. Tradition and has to mean something.
It does.
And why would I want to go to a school that has no tradition? And we always hear, well, come be the first. No, I don't want to come be the first. I don't want to come be the first because that's so much pressure on you. There's so much that they're going to expect for you to do. And that's something that I don't want to do at this point in time in my life. And everything's coming in and trying to turn the program around. And I don't have no support and no help. You're not going to get those guys that Texas and Oklahoma State gets. You're just not.
No. Well, no, and especially even now. I mean, and they've done a lot of. I mean, if you've seen lately what it looks like they've done that. I mean, the one thing that I'll tell you that Joey's done a really good job at is raising funds and getting better facilities. He's done a good job with NIL. They were able to get a 5-star receiver. That was the first 5-star they've ever got there. I don't know how long they keep him, but I mean, they got him for now.
Right.
Oh, it's Coach Roybal, are you going to take the job at Florida? Hey, I would take that fucking job in a heartbeat.
I wouldn't.
They'd fire
I
you.
wouldn't.
Hey, who gives a shit? Why?
Hey, as I look at retirement, boys, I would take the Florida job.
Hey, Coach, I've already lost all my hair. I don't want to. I don't want to.
I'm not far from it, brother. I'm not far. And what I do have is gray.
Coaching is stressful, and
It's very
to go to a
stressful.
program that is on life support, man, it's whew.
Well, but
they got to hire the right person.
Think of the
Florida, though, they will
challenge.
spend the money. They will spend the money you need them to spend to win.
But
Think
Jason,
of the challenge and the fun it would be, though, Coach. I mean, I
Sure.
know
Oh,
it'd be
no,
a
don't
hell
get
of
me
a lot
wrong.
of
This
work.
is what Coach is about right here. He takes over these trash programs and turns them into like unbelievably good. He
I
bit off more
love
than he can chew in Hobbs.
Don't get me
Oh,
wrong. I mean, that's
I love
a
it.
dream job to some people.
Right.
I'm
I
just
know.
in
But-
my life right now, man. I just the stress is something that I don't want to. That's what someone
Well, I
asked me,
think
Coach.
that's a
Why
good
don't you go up
question,
to Coach?
because these
I don't
guys
want to
that
do
are-
that.
Let's say these guys like Lance Leipold, right?
Okay.
Big Mike asked me yesterday who I thought was going to get that job, and I think it's Lane Kiffin. I think that Kiffin takes that job immediately because he knows that he can recruit there in a way that he'll never be able to recruit at Ole Miss.
No.
Right? He can get their NIL together. He can push them to do that because they'll do it anyway. They're going to freaking pay guys under the table if they have to. Look at the Jaden Rashada thing. You don't have that problem, and you will get the support that you need to win. So Lane takes the job if they give it to him. I guarantee you he would. Josh Pate said that the other day, but I was saying that already. If they offered that job to Lane Kiffin, he'll be there, no doubt. Now, should they offer it to Lane Kiffin? No, I don't. He's not the guy. I would go and get Summeroff from Tulane first, or GJ Kinney. I love GJ Kinney a lot, man. At Texas State, he's been killing it.
Who's Liberty's coach?
Liberty's coach, he's pretty good. It's he was the guy that was at Coastal before that. It's
I would get him. You need
he's
somebody
really good.
young.
He's good.
Young.
GJ Kinney is young. So is and so is the Summerall guy from Tulane as well. I also am a big fan of Jeff Traylor.
Yes.
At UTSA. He's been killing it.
Yeah.
He just don't have the players there. I mean, that's all that is. You know, he just don't have the players there.
Jeff? Oh, I know. And he's been winning anyway.
Yeah.
He's been
But-
anyway, and he does a very good job with the NIL and with the portal because they have to do that at UTSA. Excuse me, at UTSA. Got to do it. I would tell you that to me, if I was going to go get who's the best coach for the job or who I think is going to be the best guy, I would tell you that I would probably throw everything. And this is what Big Mike said. He goes, what about Lance Leipold? I don't think Lance Leipold wants that job, although apparently he has a house in Florida. But I think that that's the best guy for it. Either him or maybe if you could get Coach Witt to go get it, I would take Coach Whittingham in a heartbeat.
If he was to ever leave Utah, that would be a place for him to go.
Yeah.
But I think he is so loyal to Utah.
He went to
I just
Utah.
don't-
He
Yeah.
could have left a long fucking time ago.
I
and
think
got
he's
a better
just-
job in Utah. Come on.
That's his dream job to him. So I guess he's
Right.
happy where he's at.
And I'm not dissing Utah. I'm just telling you, and I could diss Utah because they're a bunch of loudmouths, but that's not what I'm getting at. I'm saying that Coach Witt is that dude, and he's beaten Saban, he's beaten everybody that is at the top, he's beaten them. If they played him, he's beaten them. So to me, I would tell you it'd be Coach Witt. Is he going anywhere? No, he's not going anywhere.
This is what I don't want. And I'm jumping off the ship right here when I say this. This is what I don't want. I don't want Deion going nowhere near Florida or Florida State.
Fair enough, chicken.
Yeah.
You know, that's I think, man, he's doing so well at Colorado, man, but is there some places you need to be to really become a coach, because he really hasn't done anything to warrant a job like Florida.
Brent Key's another one. Georgia Tech's coach. Good
Georgia
coach.
Tech.
Good coach.
The Liberty coach is Jamie Chadwell.
Chadwell. Yeah, he's
He's a good coach, man. But
he's a good coach.
the reason why I
You know
like
who's
young
another one?
coaches.
You know who's another one that I would like to see would be what's his name from Louisville, but Louisville's his home school. It's
Oh
Sean,
yeah,
blanking on his name right now.
Brom, Jeff Brom.
Yeah, Jeff Brom.
Yes,
Jeff Brom.
Brom.
Love Jeff.
Yeah.
And I think that really ought to be their target because of the fact that he has been coaching around that area. And look, man, they've
He
been
does a
winning.
good job.
He does a freaking really good job. A really
Yeah,
good job.
That's a good.
But I
Hank-
agree. I think Brent Key's another one of those good ones. Jeff
Hank
Brom.
gave me an idea. Hank gave me an idea.
Ooh.
Matt Campbell.
If they wanted to win, they'd go get him.
Yeah.
Because you need a defensive guy.
Iowa State.
A defensive guy that's not afraid to let his guys play offense too, though. You know what I mean? I think I think Campbell would do a freaking amazing
Man,
job.
look, he would finally have the talent
That's right.
that he needs, and because we've seen what he can do with
with
less
with the
talent.
Worst damn program in Big 8 history. Look at what he did.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a
He's
great
never
call.
had that
Absolutely.
top talent, man. I would love to see him have
That's a
top
great
talent.
call, Hankster. Great call.
So that
They
that'd
coach
be
at Illinois. Nah, they'll never give him that job there. He plays a shitty brand of offense. They hate it. There's no way he'd be the. I don't disrespect myself. I don't have a problem with Bielema. Brett Bielema is who you're talking about. I don't have a problem with him, but I don't like it.
Yeah.
Floyd Boucard decommits, lost him on NIL. Maybe that may have been an NIL thing, but that's Miami coughing up cash and him jumping ship. Listen, the guy's a 3-star anyway, and it's, to me, it is what it. I think he was going to be a good player. But here's what I'm going to tell you about this. I've said it a bunch of times whenever other teams have lost players and stuff too. If you don't get them, you weren't supposed to get them. And if you're going to get guys on money, if you win them with money, I'm stealing this from Shouty.
You're going to lose them on money.
That's what you'll lose them to as well. If that's really what it's about, then that's what it's about. So he apparently didn't go on the visit to Miami, and apparently he just opened his commitment back up. I don't know. You never know, but if that's what happens, that's what happens. It is what it is. Thank you for the super chat. Trojan Fight. I appreciate that.
Trojan
I don't know,
Fight.
man.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yep.
I don't know, man. It's to me, I don't think that. I think if you're going after them for the right reasons, and I know that that's what Oklahoma's doing, they're chasing these guys for the right reasons, and they're not just going to chase them on money. That doesn't mean they're not going to pay them. But if Miami's willing to come over the top of you and pay over the top, then so be it. If you're gonna lose them to that, then it is what it is. I don't care, and I'm not going to sit here and be that guy that tells you that I have a problem with a kid taking more money either, because I don't.
Oh.
Well,
Man,
I
look
tell
at
you,
all the years.
I tell you
Look at
where
all the
I tell
years.
you where I have a problem though. I tell you where I have a problem is when you jump from school to school to school to school. That's where I have a problem. And if it's and let's face it, guys,
This is a
there's
high
no
school kid.
rules in this game.
This is a
There's
high
no
school kid, though.
rules.
He hasn't moved around. He's decommitting from Oklahoma at this point.
No, I hear you, but still, if it's about the money, like we said, he's going to go someplace else for the money,
Sure.
and then someplace else for the money, and we've got to.
Your problems.
We've
though,
got.
if that happens to you now, that's probably a good thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, I agree, but I'm just saying this shit's got to come to a halt of letting these players jump from program to program to program. We got to get this in a box, and you get to maybe move once, twice at the most. Or if your coach leaves, that's a whole different story.
Sailed, man.
Yeah.
That ship sailed.
Yeah, but I just I'm tired of seeing these kids that are leaving, getting NIL money, and then going back to where they came from, or going someplace else for more money, and they get to keep all that money because there's no damn rules.
There was a kid here. I can't say his name, but it'll come out down the road. He was a junior in high school, and he decided he didn't want to play his senior year because he was already going to a school. And and everyone here in the community knew there was an NIL deal on the table, which I have no problem with that. Well, something happened, whatever happened, he decides to decommit and go somewhere else. That's your prerogative, no big deal.
Yep.
Now we're hearing today, which we had in the meeting today, he decides he wants to decommit again and go somewhere else. When you start doing that, only thing that does is put you in a bigger hole to where nobody wants you, because now I can't count on you. I can't depend on you to be committed to the program, and I have a problem with that. So a lot of talent has been lost because there is no guidance on how to do the NIL, and there is no. I'm old school. My father always told me a handshake is all I need, or a man's word is his bond. So I'm that way. So I don't need. So if a player come tell me, which I had someone come say, "Hey, coach, I'm coming." That's all I need. I don't need nothing wrote down on a piece of paper. But they've had great backing from parents to say, you mean what you say and you say what you mean, and that's how it is. So
I agree.
This young man is pretty much blackballed right now, and nobody wants him.
But it goes back to coach. I mean, hell, if you're that third school, he's already he's dropped two others, and you're going to that one. What the hell is that head coach thinking?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
he ain't played a down yet in college yet. He ain't played a down yet. He ain't even graduated high school yet. So
I wouldn't want him. I would want him in my program.
Desperate is what it means. Some of these coaches are more desperate. Is Jimbo? He didn't give a shit. He didn't think about that stuff at all.
Yeah, where's Jimbo coaching?
Right on the couch.
Yeah, but he's got $80 million in his pocket. It don't make a shit that he's not coaching anymore. I'm just telling you that there's other guys out there like that.
Right. No, I agree. I mean,
like Lane Kiffin. I mean, but the thing about Lane, you have to do that at Ole Miss because you don't have the brand name to bring in guys from the high school ranks like that. You just don't.
No. Jason, you did say that about Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. He has to go to the portal because you're surrounded by Georgia, Alabama, LSU, Auburn, and all those places. So you're competing against, excuse me, the people you're going to be playing against, and
Yep.
you're getting this. I hate to say this word, you're getting the scraps of what's left of players. And I hate using that word, but I want to find a different one down the road. You're getting the players and everything that are not to the caliber of the ones that Georgia and Auburn and all the players are getting. So if Lane does decide to leave, he needs to go somewhere to where, like Florida, where you're only competing against two major schools, Miami and Florida State. That's it.
Yep.
Well, UCF, but UCF is not on the same level as Florida and Florida State and Miami, booster wise. I don't want to say playing wise because they've been playing better than those damn schools anyway.
Yeah, no doubt. I agree with you. And I think that at some point it has to be about more than money. My mom just said it there too. And we've been saying it a lot. If you better be recruiting on more than that. And the main thing that I love about what Oklahoma is doing is that they've got the sole mission that they're look, Venables is going to talk to you about NIL shit. They've got an NIL people for that
Department.
shit.
Yep.
They've got a department for it. They've got a GM. They're doing all the things that you need to do. The things that we were talking to Seawald about that they're not doing at Clemson, they're doing at Oklahoma. They're doing that at Alabama. They're doing that probably pretty soon if they're not already doing it at Texas, because you got to do it. But if what you're doing is like Texas, they're going to be putting out Lamborghinis and shit out there. That's not something that Oklahoma's going to do under Venables. They might have done it under Lincoln. They're not going to do it under BV. That's not what they do. Yep. It's got to be about more than that. Because if it's not a fit, and he talks about it all the time, we don't cast a big ass wide net out there. You know, that we're just not doing it. We're going after, we are intentional with everything we do, and we want to make sure that you're a fit before we do anything. Look, as far as Boucard goes, I don't know. Maybe they found out that he wasn't as much of a fit as they thought he was at the first part of it. The stuff that he talked about at first about, you know, he wanted to help his family. I understood that, but he talked about he was going to be loyal to Oklahoma because they were the first ones that paid attention to him. Well, apparently that's not exactly the case. He wanted to continue taking visits. When everybody else, generally speaking, I will say that I don't understand what's going on with the Cortez Mills, because he went to. I know he went to Nebraska.
It's coming.
I think that one's coming too. I don't think that one's coming. But I would just say that the bottom line is that we know for sure that that's not Venables' thing. He's not going to have it. You know, he's just not going to have it. So to me, but I also think that you have to do that. If the argument was that he wasn't going to get to go and take these trips with his high school team or whatever the hell, and that high school team, they take an annual trip to Miami.
Yeah.
Sorry. Why would you care? Why would you, if you really want to come to Oklahoma, why do you care? And I would say the same thing about Cortez Mills. I think he's a good player. I don't think that you break your rule for him. When they did that with Anthony Evans, what happened? You lost him.
Yeah. Sometimes, man, you're gonna have to stand on your own 2 feet, man, and say, break away from the crowd. You know, a lot of these young men, I try to teach all my guys and everything. I don't want you to be followers. I want you to be leaders. You know, don't follow the crowd. You know, if they're gonna go do something or you're gonna go do it with them. I've seen a lot of kids lose scholarships because they followed the wrong people instead of standing on, which I'm gonna use one of the kids saying these days, stand on your own square. Stand on your own square.
Oh, on your own square. I like that better.
And a lot of these guys, man, I mean, we as coaches, man, we see so much stuff, man. I mean, we're bishops, we're counselors, we're all these things for these young men. And sometimes, man, you can only do so much to guide them in the right direction.
Sure.
It hurts, man, when you see young men that you know have talent go down the wrong road because they can't understand that. Just because my grandmother always say, you know, people can't always go with you. You know, I walk to my own drum, and so not to get too far off. A lot of these young men just got to start standing on their own square and start doing things for themselves. If I commit to Oklahoma, I don't give a damn what my friends do. I ain't going.
Right.
I'm not gonna mess up my opportunity to take care of my family.
I can tell you from watching Coach Roybal that he coached and he expected a lot out of his players. And, and there was no two ways around it. There wasn't any questions about it. He coached them hard. He did what he did with them. I mean, look, coach is fun and everything, and they loved him. They all still love him. I mean, when I met Stephen Coleman, first thing I call is that, and you know what? Deshaun does this too all the time. Deshaun Sanders. Another kid that played for him was Division I guy. Every time they talk to Coach Roybal, I love you, Coach. I love you, Coach. I love you, Coach. And you know what? I watched him destroy Deshaun Sanders in practices. Just kick his ass. Kick his ass. And they love him for it. And it's the same thing that Venables does. Venables doesn't go easy on these kids at all.
Well, and that's, it's about, and you know this, Coach, it's about expectations. And,
Sure.
but you know what, one of the parts that a lot of people don't get to see after you rip their asses up one side and down the other,
you love on them.
When they go into the locker room, I always made it a point after every practice, after every game, win or lose, walk through that locker room, stop and talk to each one of them. And let them know you love them. And the reason they say, Jason, I love you, Coach, is because I can't tell you how many times I told them I love you. And
well, I know that part too. Absolutely. But I'm just telling you that you can be hard on them and they still will love you years later.
Sure. Well, and Jason, we had kind of going back to what you're talking about, Coach Ricks. Kind of going back and talking about that, but you know what? We had one rule in our program. In our football programs, we had one rule, and that rule was do what's right. And that was the only rule we carried. And I would have kids come to me and say, Coach, how do I know if I'm doing what's right?
Bullshit.
And the simple answer to that was, you know what? Imagine you're fixing to do something that you're not sure about. You just imagine the person that you love most is standing right behind you, and they're watching you. Now, what are you going to do? It's simple. You're going to do what's right if they're standing there watching you. And again, a lot of these guys got to go do this on their own. But if they can just envision, you know what, if it's your daddy that's most important, your mama, or your Christ, whoever it might be that you want to do what's right for, then you're going to make the right decision every time.
Yeah. I got one for you, Coach. The same thing I always tell them. If you're going to do something, imagine your mother and father right next to you. How would they respond if you're doing that? That's the key.
Absolutely.
It's the key word right there, because and I like that. I like the conversation that we have now about this, because a lot of times we as coaches and people, we don't get to talk about this kind of stuff, man, because we feel like most men don't talk about stuff like this. They feel like, oh, you're being sentimental. No, I tell my players the same thing, man, is that when I'm a coach, I become a father, I become a brother, I become a uncle, I become all that stuff, because if you somewhere you ain't got no reason, no business being, and you need me, you call me. I'm on my way. At least I know I've done my good deed to make sure that this young man did not go down that wrong road. And like I said, now you're going to pay for it the next day. But
absolutely,
I don't mind coming to get you. And then after you run those bleachers and you do everything I asked you to do, I'm going to pull you aside and tell you, whenever you need me again, come holler at me. I don't mind doing it.
And you know what's really interesting about that, Coach, is you have players. I had players that, and I do everything I can, just like you do, to keep the players in the program. But, ultimately they make the decisions if they end up being out of the program. It's their decision at the end of the day. And I've had players that, they They left the program. I put them out of the program, which I didn't do that very often. But it's interesting to me how I've had some of these players reach back out to me years down the road and say, Coach, I love you, man. I wished I'd have stayed with the program. I wished I'd have listened to you more than I did, because now that I'm a father, I understand, or, I'm a husband, and and it's really interesting, because you would think those guys would hold that against you
A grudge.
for the rest of their lives, and they don't. They come back with regret and saying, man, Coach, thank you for what you did for me, and I wished I'd have stayed so you could have done more.
That's the whole point that I'm trying to make. And Benji's even coming into discourse saying, you keep bringing that up about Lambos, and I guess I'm timed out right now, but has it not worked at UT? No, that's not what's working at Texas. And for that matter, the season is very young here. You guys were really good in week 2 and 3 last year too. And good for you. You went to the playoff, but you're not going to run through this gauntlet again like that. It's not about the Lambos thing there. I'm telling you now, that stuff, it's got to be about more than that. That's the point I'm trying to make. And I don't give a shit if they win football games this year or not. It doesn't matter. Whoa.
Am I saying that
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Look at that. Charles.
Man, we love you too, Charles. My man.
Hey, hold on. Hey, Charles, I love you too, man. I love you too.
Thank you for the super chat.
Wow.
I appreciate that a lot.
That's what it's all about right there, man, is that
Yeah,
people can tell that us three were genuine. We don't get on here and try to BS anyone and everything, man. You get on here and you tell life lessons. And when you tell those stories, man, you don't know who it might touch, who it might reach. And the same thing that you do, Coach, is I'm the same way, is that I have players come back, and I don't need that a boy and, hey, Coach, as long as you are better than how I got you, that's all I'm worried about. That's all I'm worried about. You are a better human being, a better man, a better person. You know, my main thing was always, you're gonna do community service, you're gonna go to church, you're gonna do yoga. Yes, Jason, I say yoga. You're gonna do yoga, you're gonna do the things on the weekend. But I try to run it like a college.
His own show about that. He was talking
about
yoga.
He gets me on the yoga, man. Hey, I'm just telling you, man.
There's a place for it, though. There is a place.
Yes.
It doesn't replace weightlifting, though, Coach. Right?
No. This was when I coached girls. This is when I coached girls basketball. We did it like that. But I did that, so a lot of these young women always told me that they didn't have a bond with their mother. So I felt like I knew a guy that had his own facility that did yoga. I invited the mothers with the daughters to come do yoga on the weekends, and it formed that bond between the mother and the daughter, and the girls start playing better. So you got to try the little kinks and things, man, that work for these kids, man, because a lot of these kids go through things, man, that we don't even know about. And then we expect for them to come in here and perform at a high level, and they're going through X, Y, and Z at home. So we have to be understanding when we do this.
Oh yeah, and I coach, and I know you've done the same. But I had players that, we would have 6:30 weights in the morning, and I would go to their homes to pick them up. And I'm going to give y'all one story of what happened. I know we've gotten away from a little college football, but
hey, man, we keep doing this, we're gonna get some more money. Let's keep it going.
But I actually
thank you very much again for that. This is the second time that he's been very generous to us. He bought a bunch of our merch last month as well. Just thanks a lot again.
Who's
Charles.
Who's his team?
He's an OU guy, man. He's a Sooner guy.
Is he OU guy? Awesome. Yeah. Wow.
Appreciate it.
Needs you to be a Notre Dame guy.
He's a member. He's even a member here. So we really appreciate that, man.
But I remember driving. I remember going to this house, to this apartment, to pick this young man up, and it wintertime, snow on the ground, and windows are broken into the apartment, I'm knocking on the door, and the mother finally comes to the door, and she's pissed off at me. You know, my boy's sleeping. I said, well, you know, he's supposed to be at practice in the next 30 minutes. Well, I'm not going to wake him up. You go get his ass. You know, and then she starts telling me, you know what? We're doing just fine. I don't have an education. He doesn't need an education. We're doing great.
Wow.
And what I didn't want to tell her was, look at the shit you're living in and he's living in, and you're saying this is good. But on my way of stepping over, I don't know how many people sleeping on the floor, I get to this young man, wake him up. Come on, let's go. He gets up, you know, not happy about it, but he gets up. He comes and he goes to work out. But my point is to what you were talking about, Coach Ricks, is we don't know what these kids live like and the issues they have to deal with on a daily just to make it to school, to live their life. I mean, wow, what a hell of a way to live your life. And you know, it's just, and here's the sad part about it is this kid ended up, he did graduate. Well, I used to bring him to my house and my wife would tutor him in English to help him pass his English classes. But at the end of the day, you can't save them all. And it's unfortunate because this young man I'm talking about ended up selling drugs and going to prison, and you know, and it breaks your heart. You almost feel as a person and a coach that you failed that person. But we got to, the reality of it is we can't save them all, and it's unfortunate. But again, the biggest point I wanted to make was, like you said, we don't know what they have to go through every day. So, tough stuff, but good stuff.
But I mean, but that's the thing is you have to, there's some things, you know, you're not gonna be able to, you can't save everybody. You can't do that. But if you show them the right way, maybe they get it later. I mean, sometimes people make mistakes and they rebound from them too. You know what I mean? Just because you make a mistake doesn't mean that. Gifted membership from Bishop Frank. We also had another gifted membership from Chicken as well. Thank you very much, Chicken.
There you go.
Appreciate you guys. Everybody's been awfully generous tonight, man. We're being really appreciative of that too, man. Appreciate it, Bishop Frank.
Man, they're gonna be generous, man, when you teaching, when you're talking about life lessons. Life lessons, man, is something that people can relate to. People know someone that's been through that or that's going through that or has gone through that.
Or they've been through it.
Or they've been through it. So I mean, you know, this is better to me than talking about football sometimes, because sometimes we get lost in football, even though it's a football podcast. Sometimes we get lost in the football and we get away from what's genuine. And what's genuine is being genuine to other people, giving of oneself to someone else to help someone else. I mean, we've all been there. If you've been a coach, you've done all those things. What I try to do now is just tell people and everything, try to be a leader, not a follower. There are so many people that have went down the wrong path and followed people that did not have a future, didn't want a future. And now you're going down that same path and you have a future that is real bright, but no one is trying to grab that person to say, hey, you ain't got to go that way. There is another way that you can go to get to that same location.
And you guys know this, when people see that a person, you know, an athlete has a path to success, the people around him will do everything in their power to pull him down, to keep that person from going on and getting out of the crap they're in. And it's sad because, like you said, Coach, if you're a leader, you'll be able to pull away from that. But if you're a follower, you're going to fall into that and you're never going to be. I'm not going to say never be successful, but it sure is going to make your path a lot harder.
I don't make decisions no
I'm
more.
making my mom cry, man. Look at this shit.
I don't make decisions no more. I let my captains make decisions. They are the leaders, and when guys get out of line, I let my captains punish them.
And they do
within
it
reason.
far harder than you do.
And the reason why I do that, coach, and everything, which is that sometimes and everything, if we want to build young men, we have to give them the tools and give them the guidance to do those things. I can't sit here and say I want to build a great man, but then I don't trust you to make decisions and everything on what's best for the team. So we've had a guy that missed practice a few times, and he thought he would come play the ball game, and he got his locker. It wasn't no uniform, wasn't no nothing. What's going on, coach? Go see Julius. Don't talk to me.
Absolutely.
Go to Julius. Julius said, "Hey, you ain't playing.
Yeah.
You ain't been no practices. You ain't playing." It means more coming from your peers than it means coming from me.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Now you can be mad at the coach, but you can't be mad at your boys and everything because you let them down.
You can be, but you know deep down in your heart that you're wrong. You can be mad at it, but it's
you can't
tough.
You can't take on 58 players and everything. They all stand together. You can be mad at coach, but you can't be mad at 58 players. You got to be looking over your shoulder every day.
Yeah, I agree.
Kimberly K says thank you very much. She is sweet. Have her on video for an interview, please.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know that she would do it. I don't know that she would do it, but we'll talk about it. But yeah.
Hey guys,
thank you very much.
I'll start it.
I'm
gonna give you some money here in a minute, Jason, and everything. Let's start a little bid and everything. Let's raise some more money so we can get Jason's mom on here for an interview.
You trying to start some stuff there too, huh? Okay.
I'm trying to help you out, man. Like I said, that'll be great, man.
I'm happy to have her on. She knows that.
That'll be great, man. But no, man, I'm glad I jumped on, man. This means more to me, man, than y'all know, because I got on here upset about the game, and now that is the farthest thing from my mind right now, man.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, when it comes to the whole Tennessee thing and coming up and all this stuff, I mean, we know what these are fans, and they're excited about their team right now coming into the game. Now, are they going a little too far with it and taking shots? Yeah, they're still doing it. I mean, I was just looking back at TikTok and really even on YouTube. Every video they've been coming at us, and honestly, we really haven't talked that much about these guys. But I would just tell you that you're writing checks for your team there. That because believe me, they're seeing it in the locker room. They're seeing it in the locker room. So good luck with that. I hope you keep that energy when you show up to Norman on Saturday. But I'm just gonna say, I'm telling you now, Oklahoma wins this football game.
I believe so too. I believe so too.
I was nervous at first a few weeks ago because I was like, man, we're not playing the way we play. But as I watched some of the video and once I did this,
you don't know my mom. Look at Nilo said, what happened to your son? He's a bit feisty.
Feisty.
You don't know my mother either.
Hit that button real quick.
Absolutely believe that. Get out of line with her and see how sweet she is.
It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good game, man. Like I said, I was nervous, but now I'm not nervous no more. I think that if there was no talking, I think I would feel like, okay, this is going to be a good game. But the more I hear them talk, and I've been a player and I've coached players that have heard the noise and heard the talking. And that's when you get your best players. That's when you get your best reaction. Yeah, because now we got some dogs and they're like, okay, coach, you ain't gotta say a word. We got it. I ain't gotta say a word.
This has already been going on since before the season anyway. I mean, to be honest with you, people have been hating on this football team. They were pissed off about being picked finished 8th in the conference. They were pissed off about all the shit that they were talking about them last year when they won 10 games. There's been a lot of people that have been talking a lot of crazy shit about, and this has become a sport for SEC programs. Missouri doing the same shit. The Mizzou folks on Twitter are as bad as it gets, period. And I'll tell you, and I'll tell you that I don't believe that it's the entirety of the fan base. But
Right.
Mizzou fan, I mean, why would you bring up anything when you like the guys that come into this show, Richard Shear and Rob, they know better. They know what the record is. Why are you talking? Why would you run your mouth?
Because again, I said it earlier, and I'm gonna
How to
say it
act.
again. They haven't been there before, and they're having a little bit of success, and they can't handle it. And let's be honest, guys. There's a lot. Some of the conversation we were having a second ago, behind the scenes of what happens on the football field. A lot of people have never experienced that and don't understand that. And there's some of those fans out there in all of our fan bases that they're the ones talking all the crap and the noise. Those people that understand, have either played it or had a son or daughter that played, they know that it's not about talking. It's about the competition itself. But that's why a lot of these people do what they do, the fans, because they don't understand the big picture. And when you hadn't had success, you're going to talk a lot of shit. So it's
I get it.
yeah. But
I get that.
I'm telling you, I'm excited. I'm going to tell you guys, I'm truly excited of watching this ball game. Obviously, I have a lot of OU friends. I have a lot of Tennessee friends.
Sure.
And I have to tell you, I truly believe OU wins the ball game.
Yeah.
And I truly believe this happens, guys. I think it's OU leads in the ball game and by 14-21 and wins it handily, or I think it's going to come down to the last drive in the fourth quarter. I think those are the two scenarios I see in my mind. But I still believe OU wins in both of those scenarios.
Yeah. I mean, look, here's the one thing I'll say about it. And I'm just looking at this in terms of, yes, I understand that they've looked really good against inferior talent. We know we've seen Josh do a good job. I'm not even telling you that Josh isn't doing a great job there, because I think he is. And they don't just do the air raid thing. In fact, they run the football more than they throw it. They do. I think they're doing a good job. I just think that when you run into this situation where you have if this was later in the year, and obviously you've got more stuff on film from this defense, then maybe they're in a better position to be able to win this game. I'm going to tell you now, as a brand new quarterback, you're in deep shit. You're in deep shit with this defense, because they haven't shown you a thing that you're going to see this weekend. And if it's on you to win the game as a redshirt freshman making his first start against a real defense, more power to you if you win it. I don't believe you're going to do it, though. I'm just telling you, I don't believe you're going to do it.
I think after a few sacks that we have, it's going to change the whole game plan, because now you're going to have to go try and do a 12 personnel to try and help give him time.
Sure.
And once you go to a 12 personnel, now you're taking away from your game plan, because you are a high-powered offense. So now you're having to, and Coach, Jason, when you go to a 12 personnel, it could be good
for your running game, but it's not great for your passing game.
It's not great for your passing game. You're not bringing in receivers to go for passes. You're going in receivers. You're bringing in tight ends so they can block and give you time in order for now. That makes you what? One-dimensional. Because now we don't have to do what and it's going to be a chess game. It's going to be a chess game all night.
Sure.
I have the score 31-17. I have a 31-17. And
isn't that what you had, Jason?
I think that's what I had earlier. Yeah, 31-17.
Yeah, I think both of y'all on the same page.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I picked that earlier.
I have it because
I
people
think I
say,
was somewhere. I think I said 27-24 on the show with Jonathan Lewis last night. But the more I've seen and more I've thought about this, the more I think that they're going to rub it in a little bit. It could get even worse than that. I really do think it could get worse than that.
whenever you have more rushing yards than passing yards, and you are a high-powered offense,
Yep, it's tough.
it's and then you get into
A
that old
situation
saying,
where you got to score and you're not
you run
scoring.
the ball, to set up your pass. But
That's
if
right.
you can't run the ball, now play action doesn't work. Now your passing game doesn't work. So now what are you going to go to? So and no one's talking about it. I mean this from the heart. OU is so deep on defense. Even if you take a guy out, you're not losing anyone. You're probably getting the
Think
same
about
or
R.
even
Mason
better.
Thomas. We've been waiting on R. Mason Thomas to do something for a couple of years now,
That
and the
dude
guy
took over a whole
lit it
damn
up
series. He took over a whole damn series
the
by
whole series
himself.
and started the next one too.
So I just want, I mean, after this game, I tell my buddies at work, they all TU fans, all of them. Just keep those receipts.
Yeah.
When I come in Sunday, and I don't
Oh,
want to
those
hear,
receipts, they're
I don't want
everywhere.
to hear we
got-
we didn't play our best game,
I
and I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear that.
Hey, excuses are like assholes. Everybody's
Everybody
got
got
one, and they all stink.
No doubt. Well, and here's the thing, and we'll finish with this stuff. But Chicken's right. It's funny how nobody talks about Nico not having played in an adverse environment, and he hasn't. You know, and they talk about, okay, his 4 games, he's there. Somebody said to me earlier that they have not given up a touchdown. Tennessee hasn't in their last 16 quarters. Okay, nobody scored. Iowa doesn't score on anybody in your bowl game. They don't score on nobody. We know that. Okay, then you played a team that wasn't ready for what you were doing in NC State at the or in game 2, following a game with who was it? UT Chat. I hope that they didn't score on your ass if you've got a good defense. And the same thing with Kent State. Come on. And NC State, not that good. I was wrong about NC State. I'll tell you right now. I thought they were going to be pretty damn good. They're not. They're not.
No.
So let's just be real. It's the same thing I said about Texas. Michigan ain't worth the shit. We know that now. Arkansas State only lost to them by 10. OU put up 70. They beat them 73-0 last year. Michigan's bad. So Texas ain't played anybody either, and they won't play anybody before the Red River game. Texas in deep shit when they get to the Red River game too, and they swear up and down that they're so good.
The brand has finally returned. Fuck your brand.
It's a paper number 1. It's a paper ass number 1, and I know it, and you know it. But keep talking. I love it all. I love it all. Y'all can all keep talking. You Tennessee fans can talk. You Texas fans can talk. Keep talking. It's going to be fun whenever you have to shut up. I'll tell you that much.
Now, Chicken, you have a good point. This is the one time as a coach I would have got petty. And if you're up 30 on me, and then you do an onside kick, I don't believe in dirty play. I really don't. But
what is he doing there, man?
I'm going to have, and I shouldn't. No, I ain't gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that. I can't say that because AD might be watching, and then
shit. I watched Coach Blues shit on a coach one night over this bullshit, and he was right to do it too. But it was, I
gotta tell you a funny story about this, guys. So we're playing a team, and in our kicking game on special, I coached all the special teams, and so we had an automatic. Anytime, our punter got back there, he checked both sides, checked both wideouts, and never think it's going to happen, but you got to be prepared. And so we had an automatic call that if a receiver was ever open, we were automatically checking it, catching the snap, and throwing it out there to the receiver. So we're playing this team, and it was fourth quarter. We're winning by 50 something points, and I've already got all my backups and stuff in. Okay, and so we're like 4th and 30 because we got sacked and we got all kinds of crap went on. So, but my punt team, I didn't put in the subs. I put in my regular punt team. So there's the punter. He sets up. He looks right. He looks left. He checks it, and I'm screaming, "No, no!" Takes the snap, hits my wideout. He takes it to the house. And that coach was livid. And I had, I tried to apologize to the guy because I wasn't thinking that was going to happen. And I'm trying to apologize to him, and he's pissed, and he's talking a lot of shit. And finally I said, well, coach, you know what? If you would be smart enough to coach your damn kids to go out there and put somebody out there to cover him, we wouldn't have done that shit to you. But talking about that, coach, that pissed me off if somebody did that to me. But it pissed me off even more if I didn't line somebody up out there like this guy did.
Well, we did the Miami thing. We did the Miami thing, Jason. I'll say this and I'll get off. We did the Miami trick. We was up by 16. We down 3 times. Kneel down. Well, he calls a timeout. That coach does. He called a timeout. So I'm like, okay. And he's been an asshole the whole game, calling stupid stuff and trying to hurt my quarterback and this and this and this. So I said, okay. I said, fake kneel that damn thing and throw it deep. Yeah. Sure enough, fake kneel, threw it deep, guy wide open touchdown. He come running across the field, and the AD come around the stand because he know I'll get ready to do. Oh, excuse me. F you.
You don't have to say
you don't call. Look, I'm already kneeling down, so I'm saying this ball game. You call a timeout for what? You can't score 16 points in 3 seconds.
Right.
It ain't. I mean, so you call a timeout for what?
Well, and it makes you believe he's calling timeout to hurt somebody.
That's, coach, what you just said is what I thought. I'm being honest. But that petty side of me, it's like, okay, look at it. Go deep. And my quarterback went deep, and he come running over here, and I'm like, he was like, the balls of you to do. I said, you call timeout. It'd have been ball game. You call timeout. So your ass got what you wanted. And
if you wanted to play more, we played more. And guess what?
Hey. Anyway.
Incredible. The fun times, baby. The fun times.
Hey, man. I can talk about that stuff, man, forever. I mean, that's the old stuff and everything, man, that you love to play and you love to coach and you love to have these memories that you can talk to other people and everything that can relate to what you went through.
Absolutely.
Wallstein says, if you believe Oklahoma's going to run things in the SEC, think again. Well, we know who doesn't run things in the SEC, and it's Tennessee.
Man, can we say one thing?
Texas, Tennessee doesn't run shit. They're not the gatekeeper.
Other than Georgia and Alabama, who's and hate to say it, occasionally LSU, occasionally LSU.
Not now that they have Kelly.
No. Who's done shit? Who's done shit? I mean, the LSU that was the Avengers team in 2019. That was the Avengers team. They had every damn thing going. They had 12 Thanos on the damn field at one damn time. So that was a team that was for the decades. So
yeah, it's probably the best I've ever seen, that team. And that Coach O coached them for all. Wow.
And I'm just saying, I'm not saying, you're just gonna come in there and just dominate. I'm not saying that.
But they're already better than most of the damn league. Let's be real.
If we're being real, if OU and Texas get on the bus, after they get past Georgia, Alabama, and LSU, after that, somebody getting their ass up because you in my seat. that's pretty much how
And
that
that's only
goes.
for now. That's only
And,
for now too.
and
Look,
and I'm being honest. I mean,
I'm not going to sit here and tell you that OU runs anything.
no.
But if you think that Oklahoma's coming into this league to be middle of the pack, you're out of your fucking mind. That's not.
They got the right coach.
Never going to be what they do.
To come in there and be the top 2 or 3 or 4, regardless. That's it. There is no 7, 8, 9, and 10. We are not Texas Tech. We are not Kansas. We are Oklahoma. The tradition means something. So when they say you're gonna get blown, we're gonna score 50 and 60. You're trying to do something and everything that Barry Switzer used to do. Hang half a 100 on you.
Half a hundy. Yeah. Half a
You
100.
cannot. I told the guys at work, y'all might win, but you're not gonna come in there and boat race us in Norman. It just ain't gonna happen. Not with that defense, you ain't. So anyway, let me get off here, man. My wife is giving me the she's giving me the eye.
You getting the stink eye? You getting the stink eye over there?
Getting the stink eye. Hey, Jason, I'm about to get off too.
Yeah, I gotta go too.
But I gotta say one thing that I haven't said tonight. I don't give a shit.
And we love you for it, Coach. We appreciate that. Love you guys. Man, thanks for coming in, Coach Ricks. Tell everybody how to find you. And guys, if you're not already a member of his channel, listen to how to find him and get over there and do so.
You can go at Coach Ricks at YouTube or at Coach Ricks 3 at TikTok or Twitter and everything. You can get me with that. And then you can DM. I got a lot of DM emails, Jason. I'm gonna talk to you about something, man, that I came across my DMs. I gotta holler at you about. See if you're interested, because Dr. Tony George, he did decide to do the interview. So
nice.
We're gonna have him on ex NFL Panthers, New England Patriots. He's gonna be on here in a few more weeks and everything, man. So he decided he's gonna do it, and he got some good knowledge and, man, some good things that he's doing that he wants to put on the podcast.
Absolutely. That would be great, man. I'd love to help you with it. And you're always welcome on this show. We love having you. And you're doing
Coach, man, it was a blessing.
Some of your stuff to kind of get some more views for you. And I've been already looking up a lot of stuff for you, but keywords and some different stuff like that we need to work on.
Man, look, I'm old school. I'm learning this new technology thing. I try to help my daughter and my wife and everybody, man. They're real good at this. I'm not. I'm not. So I'm not gonna sit here and try to lie to you and say that, I'm not. But no, man, thanks for all the support, man, that I've been getting from your channel, man. All the subs, man. I really appreciate it. It just lets me know that what I'm doing, man, is what I'm supposed to be doing.
That's right, man. Hey, you are the man, man.
Keep rocking and rolling, brother.
All right, fellas, man. Y'all take care, man. Jason, man, I'll see you later. Horns down.
All right, Coach Ricks.
Horns down.
All right, Black.
Talk to you soon. Yeah, listen, hey, Trojan fight, you got away with that first one. Don't think you're gonna keep on getting away with that shit. You know better.
Big night time.
Don't be coming in here. Don't be coming in here talking that crazy shit from 20 years ago. We don't hear it. We're not hearing it. All right. What? Oh, he's going after coach. Now he's going after coach.
No, leave him there. I can always do that. And you know what? Here's for Texas, okay? And mainly right here, okay? For you, baby. For you.
And you guys haven't played nobody yet either, so shut up. I literally, dude, this guy though, I put him out for 30 minutes and the cat is back. How? Get him out of here. All right, guys, Trojan fight. Bye-bye. All right, gentlemen, we appreciate everybody coming in. And ladies too. Mom, thank you for coming in and getting everybody all hot warmed up and coughing up the cash. Sports Geek 91. Sports Geek 91. We haven't been all that excited about the running back rotation with the way it's done. But I think it's getting we'll see how it goes this week, man. I'm excited about this weekend. I can tell you that much. We will be back on in the morning for Rise and Shine College Football. I'll be back. It's at 10:15 a.m. Eastern time. That's 9 in the morning in the Central. And I'm sure we'll be talking about plenty more of this Vols stuff. I'm really trying to get a Vols creator to come in. And I want to get a Vols creator to tell me how they're going to beat the shit out of Oklahoma, because I don't think they will. But it is what it is. Hey, appreciate you coming in. Sean D, you're my man. I appreciate you. You're always good to the show. We love that about you. And
Absolutely.
Kay, thank you again so much. You've been very, very, very nice to my mother and everybody in here. We love you as always.
Make sure you leave the like before you leave.
Trojan Fight as well. We love all you guys.
Yeah.
Even though we might have to smack you around a little bit sometimes for the shit you say, it is what it is. But hey, appreciate. Yeah, you would need to find a Vol troll for that. Yeah, they're there. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. But you got to be. I'd like to get an actual content creator, because at least that way they could, give me some real reasons for it, because I don't buy it. I'm not buying it. Anyway, we appreciate everybody coming in. If you hadn't already hit that like button, I want to look and see where we're at. We've had, like 500 plus people in here. We do have 48 likes. That's 10%. It'd be better if we were a little higher. But I'll bump up some of this stuff as well. But make sure you guys hit that like button if you're in here on any of the channels that you're in on. But we definitely appreciate you coming in. Coach, anything else you got?
Hey, thank
My
you
team is
guys.
always amazing.
Yeah, thank you guys for all the financial Charles with a big night for us tonight.
Holy shit,
Thank you
chicken
for
as
that.
well. Everybody
Chicken, everybody that donated, thank you.
Absolutely.
That's so helpful. Again, the likes are always helpful to us. But more importantly, thank you for supporting us and being here and talking football, and great fandom for whatever team you're pulling for. We love you all except for USC fans.
I knew that was coming. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Urban Agent, I saw that too. I'm not going to get too much into that stuff, but yeah, thank you very much, guys. Everybody who donated tonight, everybody who hit that like button, everybody who just showed up to make sure you watch the show and support us. We love all you guys. Thanks a lot. We will see you in the morning right here on Rise and Shine College Football. See you on the next one.